little chat, little this and little that. A podcast with no limit of cap. And a host that can flow, we can spit a nice rap. TPP, man, it's where it's at. You can listen on the shit instead of scrolling through Twitter. Or maybe on the plane to the Xanax. Get you take a listen in your car on your way to work. And then at work, cause your boss is a jerk. And you ain't trying to hear what they have to say. You know that report was due yesterday. Too late, take a break with your boy and make some noise while I get to the point. Y'all, this is totally potpourri. We can talk about anything, giving you variety. Now sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Black people do this. White people do this. Shout out
Asian
Chappelle Show.
do this. Mexican people do this.
What was the rest of that though? When the power goes out, for white people they panic. When black people's power go out, they plan it. Welcome to the Totally Potpourri Podcast. Tuesdays with Pinky.
It's the Totally Potpourri Podcast. I think we could do better. Are we going to do it like Totally Potpourri Podcast?
Totally Potpourri Podcast. Could be whatever we want, bro.
Let's do it like that.
Okay.
It's
The
the
Totally
Totally Potpourri
Potpourri
Podcast at
Podcast.
tempo 87. It's
The Totally Potpourri Podcast. We're on groove. Fucking right.
Anyways, what the heck is up?
What's up? It's your boy, the Heartbreak Kid, Logan Michaels.
And it's
with
your
my buddy
boy,
here.
the Heartbreak Kid, Pinky.
Nice, dude. Where'd you come up with that nickname?
Dude, I ain't breaking no hearts. My heart is getting broken all over the place, brother. Oh.
Sorry to hear that, bro.
My whole life, my heart has been broken. And sometimes it's over girls that don't even know that I exist.
Damn.
And
Yeah,
it breaks
that's
my heart.
constant heartbreak then, dude.
Yeah, man.
I like the nickname. It was just supposed to be a pun off Shawn Michaels, but it's so fitting for me because I do get in those heartbreak periods. It feels like my heart's always been broken, and I'm trying to find what's going to piece it all back together, you know? It's my journey of self-discovery, my friend.
We're always on that journey.
Always on that journey, man.
Dude, talking about like heartbreaking and like girls that you have a crush on or whatever. Back in the day when I was in high school.
Was that a Wednesday?
I think it was definitely a weekday because I was at school. But I used to like when I would see a girl that I really like find attractive or that I like, that I just want to be around. I was so smooth back then. I had like ways of getting to, like introducing myself or whatever. So sometimes I would just come up to him. I was like,
start singing?
I had such this weird confidence.
Girl, let me whisper in the ear.
No, I would sing Chris Brown. So I had this thing, and I was known for it too.
Man on the floor.
No, it was that, but it was like I would come up and I would slide on my knees sometimes, like do that sliding thing, and I'd be like, "Say what your name is. Oh yeah, that fits you, girl. Tell me where you heading. Can I walk with you, girl? You got that look in your eyes that look like you give your boy Matt a good old time, and I'm on it, girl. That's right, I'm on it, girl. This is the first time I had a girl whose looks set me on fire. Really trying to get to know you better, girl. You ain't gotta act like you're shy, 'cause we can do something. Something is.
I'm sure that must have really worked back then. Probably not good to imitate Chris Brown today, because they'd be scared of their life for their life.
Chris Brown, dude, that shit is so crazy. That like
I'm just gonna go with old school Usher to hit on a chick. Just you remind me of a girl that I once knew. I don't know the rest.
See your face whenever I look at you. Wouldn't believe all of the things she put me through. This is why I just can't get with you.
Yeah, dude. That automatic panty dropper. Automatic. She'd be like, yes, I'll go home with you tonight. If you're going to keep singing like that. Good God. Shit, dog. Well,
I also, to speak on that though, I was gonna say I sang to girls, and I also drew them pictures. Like I drew graffiti or something, so I would like write their name. Like
boobs
this one girl,
again.
no boobs. But this one girl, Nikki, I would like draw her name in graffiti, and then I don't know how I like gave it to them or whatever. Like that must. I don't know why I was able to do it back then, but I was still kind of like shy and awkward. But I was like this kind of like just in the zone. I would draw a girl's picture, like, hey, here, I drew you a picture, you know.
Damn, dude.
Can
I
like,
was really shy as a kid, to be honest. Like, I never thought I'd even be on stage performing from people. It took a long journey to that even to happen. Because I had this stupid idea in my head at 20 years old. Like, I'm going to be that guy that goes viral, but nobody knows what he looks like. Because I'm never going to perform. Like, I just never thought I would
like
get
MF
the courage
Doom.
to do it. Yeah. Or wear a mask or some shit. I actually did want to make a alter ego.
Like a luchador mask?
Yeah, I was
Luchador?
telling about that. The mini Nephilim.
What is
But
it
I don't
called?
know
A
if that idea
luchador
is-
or a luchador?
Luchador.
Luchador.
Which I did for a few performances, put that mask on when it
Yeah.
calls for it. Actually did that whole set at it was last Halloween. I dressed up as Rey Mysterio,
I remember that.
but I was Roy Mysterio.
Yeah.
That was the story, is that I was doing Logan Michael covers, and he was the least successful brother of Rey Mysterio.
Uh-huh. Roy
So he's
Mysterio.
butthurt. So then, he turned to rapping because of it and spit his shit, you know?
When was your first performance?
Oh. It was in college. Maybe, I think it was my sophomore year, I want to say. It's 2021 around the time. And it was in like this, they called it the CSU. It was like the place where everybody got together to like go get food. That's where all the fast food and stuff was at the college. It's right next to this Abraham Lincoln statue. But it was this little thing put together. Signed up for it. I think that was right when I started my music minor at the time. Bro, I was nervous as shit. You saw me nervous last Thursday, but I was way nervous in that first performance. Holy crap.
Did your jaw get swollen?
Yeah, not that time, luckily. Yeah, if you see my face, it's looking pretty fat on one side. It's because I just performed at Shut Up and Rap last Thursday, and I got this crazy, like, TMJ shit where, like, my jaw just, when I get nervous, my jaw sometimes hurts, and I have to stretch it out. But, yeah, last Thursday was pretty fun, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was
Logan.
cool.
Logan had a show, and whenever this guy has a show, he gets like the super bubble guts, and his body
Oh, my God,
just
man.
releases shit.
It is insane. Yeah, so it's only when I'm, like, super nervous, and since it was, like, Shut Up and Rap is, like, for people who don't know, it's like a weekly show here in the Twin Cities hosted by Augie 5000 and Go Radio. And they pick people that submit music every week to perform at, like, a weekly, almost like a contest, where there's 3 judges, and the person who has the best performance and song wins, and then there's like winter rounds and stuff, and there's a lot at stake. They usually put them on like Go shows and Soundset, and although that's not happening this year, which is pretty lame.
Yeah, we'll talk
But
about that.
We'll definitely talk about that. So it's just, it adds a lot more pressure to it all. So when I get like super nervous though, dude, my guts cannot take it. Like mentally I was okay all day. I was all right. But it was just like physically, it kills me. I don't know if I can like
Do you know
that
how much
shit all
time
the
you do? Do you know how many times you do?
Dude, I doo-dooed at least 12 times.
You said dude, I do.
I doo-dooed. I did the doo-doo.
12 times?
Yeah, and it's like, it's not like I'm having these huge shits every time. It's just like I can't stomach anything. It's like these little rabbit turds that pop out of me, but it still makes me feel uncomfortable, so I have to get rid of it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, goddamn, how much poop is inside of me right now? It's insane.
Wait, it's rabbit turds and it's not. I would think it'd be like liquidy or something.
It's liquidy.
Ugh.
It's like, yeah, basically.
Ugh, I'm drinking
Dude,
coffee, man.
My ass got so raw. It was like, at that point, I was
Your
just,
ass got what?
it got raw, man. It got Monday night raw, bro. I had to like kind of pat the toilet paper at that point. I couldn't really
Yeah.
wipe because it was hurting.
You wiping? You got like red crayon on there.
But it got to the point where like one time I went to the bathroom, got up, washed my hands, and I'm like, dude, I gotta poop again. I went right back into the bathroom. And then I'm always like, since I was super nervous, I just constantly rehearse shit in my head. I get really lost in my head
yeah,
sometimes.
and you got excited and you got real pooey.
I get real pooey. But
You
like
get
every time in the
pooey,
bathroom,
dude.
I'd be rehearsing my fucking lines over and over again, and
Yeah.
over again. It's like to the point of overkill. But I'm glad like my regular shows don't have that kind of nerves anymore. I'm kind of over that point. But when you throw like a contest involved, it just adds to the pressure. In an environment like that, it
So,
just
like,
gets to me, man.
What else though? Not only the pooping, but what else did you experience from
That
your
jaw
nervousness?
pain was killing me.
How did you
dog.
get the jaw pain?
So it's just, I think it's a nervous thing. So
like you're just squeezing jaw.
I first got jaw pain when I got my wisdoms removed in college. And ever since then, I could click my jaw really easily. It's usually the right side, so it's kind of weird. My left side's all funky right now.
Yeah.
And then I was prescribed Adderall in my early 20s, and that shit would make my jaw even more tense. And I noticed if I just like rap a lot and I was rehearsing a lot for the show, it starts to like get swollen up and it starts to like get stiffed up. Every morning when I wake up with this shit, dude, it's like I can barely open my jaw and I gotta like kind of stretch it back out. Yeah, this is a problem. It's quite a problem.
So, and it's funny because I was gonna say this, that like you ever know when someone says something that's like pause, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? But I know the context. But it's funny because it's like,
but my ass being raw.
Because this dude shit all night.
Oh my!
And then
jaw
we got
hurts.
done.
My ass is raw.
We get done, and he was like, we're walking, and he was like, man, my asshole is so raw, dude. I'm like, I was like, bro, that might not be something you want to say out loud. But then the next day we come into work, we work together, and he was like, dude, my jaw is so sore, and I was like, dude, that's the second thing.
I'm not giving myself any help there.
No, it's
sure.
funny. It's funny. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, for those who are curious, I didn't win. I did do a pretty stellar performance.
Yeah. What was it exactly? For those who are curious, like might not even know what shut up and rap is.
Oh, I just explained that.
Oh, you did? I missed that.
Yeah, you totally missed it.
Yeah.
You were zoned out.
Spaced out, dude.
I didn't win, though, but it's such a good place to network. That's really where my networking started, that in the Fifth Element open mic.
Yeah.
When I used to work for Go Radio, who would throw that every Thursday, and I actually would be part of that. I'd set up the sound, run the sound for people.
That's where we met.
Yeah, well, we met at Fifth Element open mic.
Fifth Element open mic, yeah.
But Shut Up and Rap was one of those other things that I try to get to every week just to network and put myself out there because I was still very introverted kind of person that I didn't know anybody really in the cities, and that really helped. And it's like it's a super easy icebreaker when you see somebody kill it on stage and you go, dope song, dude.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of snowball your way into a cool conversation. That's how I met Nerdy. Like, he was just one of the performers, and then I knew he was a nerd, obviously, from his name. And I'm like, oh, I bet he likes wrestling. And sure enough, dude, it's crazy how much, like, I always thought I would have to kind of keep my wrestling obsession on the low. But I've met so many people just through the connection of wrestling, like, just from similar interests like that. It's crazy. I really underestimate how many people that loved wrestling.
Yeah, like
And
you
how
have
many
your
people
wrestling podcast too with your one.
The Third Fall
homie.
podcast.
Yeah.
We're actually getting Nerdy on next week's episode, next Saturday.
Nice.
Kyle
So what do you
said
guys
that.
talk about during that? Like just talk about wrestlers?
So we usually talk about like recaps. So we usually record it on Wednesday
Oh, so it's like a fight recap, like a UFC fight recap that Joe Rogan does.
for the most part. So I think Kyle wanted to call it Third Fall because sometimes like in wrestling there's more than just that one pinfall.
Like the
There's
Third
like a
Reich?
2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah.
So then he wanted to like his idea right away was to segment it up into like 3 different things. So our first one's usually the recap of what we just watched, like AEW and WWE, or just literally all wrestling. We kind of recap it up, and then the next ones we do like something different. Like we did like a theme song tournament, like who had the best theme songs, and we put them in a bracket and kind of picked our favorite.
Yeah.
And then we just talk about rumors. It kind of just becomes, well, the first half an hour is always just us talking about nonsense, and then we get into it, and it ends up being like a 2-hour podcast every time. But you can talk wrestling all fucking day with us too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we never really run out of material. I mean, it's constantly going too, and there's so much wrestling out there, so much. Not even just the stuff on TV. There's so much independent stuff, and it's constantly evolving. There's constantly something to talk about in wrestling. So yeah, it's a really cool outlet. So I don't fill this podcast up with a bunch of wrestling shit. You know, I kind of save it for that podcast.
Yeah.
Which is
That's
the name
awesome.
of this episode, is Save It for the Podcast.
Well, yeah, you
We
can't really
always-
fill this up with wrestling shit because
No.
I don't know the first thing. I
Right,
don't know
and
wrestling from
I
my
don't wanna
left butt
just-
cheek.
Make both my podcasts about wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. I'm going to call this episode Save It for the Podcast because it seems like every time we talk now, we're like, dude, just save it for the podcast.
Save
We
it
get
for
into
the
something and we're
podcast.
like, dude, just save it. We don't want to.
I can't even talk to you
We'll get
anymore,
into it.
man.
Yeah,
I have
dude.
problems and stuff. I'm like, man, I'll just wait till we do the podcast. Even when he got here, it's like we didn't say one word to each other. He just started setting it up, and he's tried to say something to me. I was like, Save it for the podcast.
Save
bro.
that shit for the podcast. We only
And then
maybe
now we got the
just hint
podcast
each
and we
other
don't got
what we're
shit
doing.
to talk about.
No, now we're like, what do we do?
Because I forgot everything. I should have just said it.
Well,
No.
tonight, me and you are heading to
First
Avenue. Nerdy is closing the show for the best new bands. I got my Nerdy Club shirt on. I am ready to fucking go, man. This
Yeah,
is gonna
I'm
be
excited.
great. Have you ever seen him do the live band thing where he's
Yep.
got his whole band?
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Incredible. Then I'm going to get drunk with him tomorrow watching the Royal Rumble.
Oh,
It's going to
nice.
be fun, dude. Last time I underestimated how drunk we would get because he's got a bunch of rules and like it's a party game. It's the only
Okay.
time he drinks. So there'll be like certain stipulations like if the crowd does a Ric Flair, woo, you got to take a drink.
Yeah.
And there was 2 Royal Rumbles last year because they're now doing all-female Royal Rumble. And it's like, you probably don't know what this event is, but it's like 30 people come in every 2 minutes one by one, and then they throw each other over the top rope, and whoever's like the last person standing gets to go to WrestleMania, which is like their Super Bowl, and challenge for the title.
Mhm.
So it's a very long event, so there's a lot of aspects of drinking, but some of the rules were crazy, and then it doubled up because we had to do a 2 different Royal Rumbles, and there'd be times where we had to finish like 2 drinks straight because some stipulation happened. Like it's a fun
Yeah,
time.
it's like, damn, I just knocked this back and I got to take another one.
Yeah, I'm usually
Ugh.
not one for drinking games because I like to drink at my own pace, but
Yeah.
when you make it fun like that, like one of my favorite drinking games is like you put a mustache on the
And then
screen.
when it covers someone's face when you're watching
yeah,
a movie.
Yeah, it's the best.
Me and my friend
Happens a lot.
used to do that with this like Santa Claus hat, and whenever somebody's would be wearing the hat,
Wearing the hat.
me and her would take a drink. But it's funny because like what constitutes them wearing it, right? Because it's like it could just be right there,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be like their whole face is in it. It's like what length are we
Where's
gonna...
like the margin of error?
Yeah,
That makes sense.
dude. So you saw the new Curb Your Enthusiasm episode?
I did, dude.
That shit was everything
God, I
I
love
ever
that show.
wanted.
Thank you for giving me your Amazon Prime because that's the only show I wanted to watch
Yeah,
on
man.
there.
And if
the
anybody
daily-
wants
or
it, it's
the
Matt
last
Magic,
week
and
tomorrow.
password is puzzle. Puzzle.
Well, fuck. Now you're gonna have a shit ton of people on your service.
Yeah, I mean, I can only fit like 3 or 4, I think. But seriously, guys, Matt Magic is the username. Password is puzzle.
hooking you up right now.
Puzzle. Puzzle. And that is also my login to Amazon. So I mean, I guess you could like buy anything you want. Just don't go crazy, okay? Because I'll call my bank and refund it.
There's something about it. Feels like an adult Seinfeld because obviously Larry David was the one that wrote Seinfeld.
Yeah.
But there's just something about his humor that's so relatable.
It's like every
it's
episode is
such
something that
daily
like,
life
oh
stuff,
man,
you know?
yeah.
Oh God, when he was wearing that Trump hat though to get out of like meeting with that guy or
Spoiler
people
alert.
bothering him, we're gonna spoil it up. It is just too good,
Yeah,
man.
and it's funny because I called that out because like I watched the show so much to the point where like I could see things like, and me and my dad were watching it, and he was talking to Jeff or whatever, and then also that's hilarious that people mistake
him for Harvey Weinstein. Yeah,
Weinstein. And
I
I
can't
was like,
believe
wow.
you're friends with that pig.
I never looked at him like he does look like him
Yeah.
a little bit. But I could tell though because he was like, yeah, I just don't want to be around him, and then you had that look on Larry's face like, oh.
I love the Happy New Year thing.
Yeah.
He always gets into like something like that. It's like, oh, there's a statute of limitations on Happy New Year. Like,
Yeah, Happy New Year's was 2 weeks ago. You can't say Happy New Year. It's not no more New Year. Well, I'm just saying Happy New Year. Hey, Happy New Year.
it's so relatable, and he's such an asshole, but
Yeah.
like a lovable asshole. Oh man, it's great, dude.
I love it.
Love that show. All right,
We're back.
we are back. Way to get some.
Well, we
more.
never left.
Back like we never left, baby.
Yeah.
So I've been meaning to talk about this cool ass documentary I watched
Tell
the
me.
other week. It's
Mhm.
called "Don't Fuck with Cats."
Oh, so I saw that on Netflix, and it was like 9:30. And I'll let you start, but let me preface
Yeah.
this with, I wanted to watch that because it looked really dope and it looked really cool. But there's something about me where I need to like watch happy things before I go to bed. So like I watch The Office or The Simpsons or something cool and happy, or at least like neutral.
Mhm.
But that looked to me
like My Little Pony, or
like
something.
scary kind of. It was like
It's. I mean, they
not
didn't.
scary, but it's like.
It's.
Anyways, so tell me about
it's
it.
something. Well, I get what you're saying because there's some very. It's like it was more mentally disturbing for some of
Yeah,
it because
yeah.
they didn't show you what happened, but they would like have the audio playing, and like you start visualizing what
And the
the
whole
fuck it
idea
actually
of
sounded
it
like.
is sick.
Yeah, so basically what happened was this one dude made this video called Two Cats, One Guy, or One Guy, Two Cats.
So kind of like 2 cups, 1 girl.
Yeah, anything named like that, you're into some
Or
you're
2 cups,
ready.
1.
You're about to look at some fucked up shit.
2 girls, 1 cup. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Oh God, that scarred me.
Yeah, you're right. Anything with like 2 and 1 or 3 and 2.
3 guys, 1 hammer. Like, oh man,
3 guys, 2 basketballs. You ever heard of that one?
no, that doesn't sound so bad.
They stand and throw the basketball at an angle so it comes back up on the bottom of their ball sack.
Just ball shots. There is something called the Pain Olympics. Ever see?
Oh,
I didn't ever.
The
see
BME,
that,
BME, that was back in the
but dude
day.
cut his dick off or something.
Yeah, when I was young, my buddy's little brother showed me that video. The dude made his dick dead, basically. He tied it up and killed his dick. Like
Strangled it?
blood flow. Strangled his dick. But not like masturbation. This is kind of sick. Sorry, everybody. And this is probably need to edit this out. But
Nah.
strangled, like tied it up and then smashed it with a freaking
Smash.
Oh, dude, it's the most sickest thing you would ever. And I think the thing was
Dude,
that
that's
I think he
insane.
was like the dude. I think he was gay. He had a boyfriend, and like the guy basically made. And I have no idea. It's just what I heard. I think I heard this from a podcast or something. But the guy made him like not want, like made him not think that he needed his dick anymore or something. Like I don't know what it is,
He
dude.
must have been
I
under
can't-
a fucking spell. I need my
fucked
dick
up.
for everything.
Dude, think about spells.
I heard about
Yeah.
one fucking video too, and not to get too sidetracked about what we're talking about,
No,
but
no, yeah.
this guy shoved a glass jar up his ass,
I saw that one.
and it broke in his ass. No spank you. No spank you.
Sick.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, don't fuck with cats. So this video gets posted on the internet. Yes. Gotta process
Dude,
that
I
quick.
saw that video. That's another
The
one.
jaw
That
one?
That's
You saw
another one
that?
that he showed me. Yeah, I didn't see it on my own. I don't want to see these things. People show me videos like at this one dude was like,
Some people
hey
have
man,
a fucking sick sense.
hey
of
man,
humor.
look at this video, and it's like freaking person getting their head
They
cut
give
off,
you no warning.
getting their head, like I'm like, what? No man.
Yeah, one of
Ah.
my buddies at a party, he puts up. It was at his house. He puts up like his laptop, and he goes on LOL shock, and we watched like wasn't making us, but he put it plainly in front of us all, like this video of this girl shooting eels out of her pussy, which was fucking weird. These other 2 people that were dressed as a nun and a priest, dude, she was eating the shit out of his ass, like, and he's laughing the whole time. He thought it was hilarious. I'm like, this is scarring me, bro. I don't want to see this, man.
I need happy things. Anyways, enough of this sickening. I'm sure our listeners don't want to hear this sickening.
Oh, well, they're gonna have to
shit.
hear a little bit more if I'm gonna
So
get
sick.
into this.
Okay,
fucking
yeah, don't fuck
documentary.
with cats. Don't fuck with cats.
So, this video comes out, and it's this dude playing with 2 little kittens on his bed, and apparently he puts the cats in like a vacuum seal bag, and turns on the vacuum, sucks the air out, suffocates the kitties, man. And people fucking love cats
R.I.P.
and
kitties.
dog videos on the internet and stuff. So there's these people that like formed a Facebook group because they were so distraught by what they saw that they're like, we're gonna get this fucker. He's not gonna get away with it. So
Like, we're gonna hunt him down.
they made a Facebook group to try to investigate, and they were nitpicking every little thing. They're like they saw like the outlet on the wall didn't look like a like an American outlet. Outlets are very different, I guess, all over the world.
Yeah.
They're trying to pinpoint where this dude could have possibly
Like any
been.
clues. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they did that with Shia LaBeouf. The internet did that. Like Reddit did it when he was. It was something where they had to find him.
Something about like a flag.
Yeah,
that
and they saw like these little
Yeah.
things they could locate his. Yeah.
Dude,
Anyways,
it's insane the lengths these people
so
go
they were
to.
looking into it. They were
They're
investigating.
looking into it. They found the vacuum and stuff, and apparently that vacuum only gets sold in North America, so that really narrowed shit down.
Yeah.
And
yeah, really, you got
this-
whole North America.
Right. Well, it could have been anywhere in the world.
Where do you start?
They ended up like finding this dude named Luca Magnotta, who's like this aspiring model person, and they thought that he might have been the person, but like he was like catching on to their investigation, so to speak, and like he was trolling them too. Like he pretty much infiltrated their group, and then was like posting pictures, but like blurring his face out to like troll them, and then he kept posting more videos of like him playing with the dead kittens or drowning in the tub, and like
So this was the guy?
yeah, but
So they found the guy and he knew that they were looking for him? Is that what you're saying?
basically like he thought that he was like they weren't gonna catch him, so then he just kept going more into it and more into it, and
Antagonizing them.
eventually he finally gets fucking caught. But like it's very morally conflicting.
But
at the
how does he get caught? Like with police?
the police finally catch him.
So the internet helps the police find them.
The internet,
Are they working
like,
together
they
or
found out. Well, the funny thing is the police didn't take the people on the internet seriously right away.
Yeah.
But he eventually got to the point where he upgraded and he killed the person. Yeah, he ended up murdering a dude and
on
filming it.
video?
Yeah, with ice pick. And the
Do
crazy
they
part
show?
is,
They don't show the video.
you know, he's like this aspiring model, but he's definitely not all right in the head. He loved
Yeah.
movies, and it was weird because he seemed like when he was like under investigation and brought in and stuff, seemed like a very polite guy and not a harmful person. But he's like, he basically mimicked the Basic Instinct movie scene where the girl is on top of the dude having sex and then stabbing him with an ice pick. He even made the screwdriver that he used to like modified it to look like an ice pick. So like he was
Never saw
shadowing
that movie,
some of
but
his
that's
favorite movies
crazy.
and shit. Yeah, and they eventually found him because when it got to the murder point, they finally like really took it seriously.
Yeah.
And the morally conflicting thing at the end was like maybe he wouldn't even have gotten that far if he didn't receive all the attention for those people that were like, we got to catch this fucker. You know, he deserves to die. Like
Yeah.
all these people that were like giving it attention. They gave him what he wanted. He wanted attention, you know? He was just like this struggling actor whose life was going down the shitter. So then he wanted to get famous any way he could. You know, it was like his psychotic dream of his. And now, you know, it's like the school shooters. They think they're going to be famous because of it.
Yeah.
You know? So that was the morally conflicting part at the end where it's like, did they kind of just play a role into all those things? Like, obviously they're not responsible for it, but they helped. They kind of like threw gas on the flames, you know? Like,
Yeah.
he might have not, like, if that video first came out and it made like 2 views, nobody was talking about it, he probably wouldn't have killed another cat and filmed it. Maybe he would have, maybe he wouldn't have. But the fact that it gained so much attention, it fueled his ego. And he kept going and going. But
And he's like, what can I do next now?
yeah, it's insane though the length that these people went to finally like narrow it down and help find this dude. Like, I don't know how they can sacrifice the time in their day, to be honest.
Yeah, man, that's good though. I mean,
Yeah,
it's good.
it's
Like
crazy,
we
man.
were talking about last episode of like humans as like an organism and everyone kind of working together.
Mhm.
And it's funny because it's like we're not lonely individuals, you know, like we were meant to unite, and that's we unite against the bad things, you know.
Right, the
And
viruses.
like Martin Luther King gathered, you know, the Million Man March, and all these humans end up combining into this one organism that's fighting for this one thing. You know, like antibacteria medications or whatever that unite and fight against this virus or whatever it is. But it's interesting though that you say I wouldn't have thought to pose that kind of question of like if these people didn't, because we were also talking about that last episode or one of the episodes about like spreading negativity unwillingly. Like you think you're doing a good thing by sharing this because you're sharing your point of view of like you're against it, you know, and you want people to know you just saw
I'm
this
against
thing.
this.
Yeah, look at this fucked up thing. This thing is messed up, man. It's totally messed up.
Feeding into it.
You're showing more people this messed up thing, and who do you think the people who are bad? They're gonna want to do bad shit because
That's the only thing that benefits.
they
from
don't
it.
care. They know it's bad.
Mhm.
They just want people to know about it, that they did it.
Yeah.
You know, if nobody ever knew, and that makes sense. But then also I was thinking, so about that guy, that makes sense to pose that kind of question. But at the same time, I think that if someone is capable of doing something like that,
They're gonna.
I think they're gonna eventually something's gonna lead to them doing that anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably would have done maybe even worse stuff just to get the attention anyways. You know, like he would have did those 1Ks and is not getting any attention. Then maybe he tries something else that's fucked up. And, you know, then eventually he knows how many views like killing people gets. So he's just going to do it anyways because he needs that he's gonna get that attention if he's already doing
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is, and I'm really glad that they worked together to catch him because he would have just kept doing fucked up shit and maybe not got caught.
They
you know?
did leave one really huge question though.
Tell me.
So he was telling his mom, because eventually his mom kind of found out about it, that he was being accused of this shit, and his mom kind of asked him a bit about it, and he said that because this dude was bisexual, and he said he was working as a male escort for people, and then he got into the wrong crowd, and he was like, he was an escort for these people that like had a lot of money, but at the same time they wanted to see fucked up shit. So he was saying that this guy named Manny, probably like a code name or whatever, but this guy named Manny was the one that was asking to do all this shit. He was the one filming and all that stuff. And there's really no evidence that this dude ever existed, but there was, in the original video, there was a second pair of hands in the video at one point.
Oh,
They don't,
my God.
like, they brought it up in the documentary, and they never really talked about it, because it's like, there was somebody else in that room with him. But they didn't ever find that Manny. They didn't think he existed, because they couldn't find any evidence of his existence. But that's what he was saying, that Manny put all the videos
Did he just
up.
say that to his mom or to the police too?
I think he said it to the police too.
See, and that's crazy because like there's another set of hands, so there's that. But then also, is this guy just making up something?
Right.
Like Walter White in Breaking Bad when he got kidnapped by Luco, and he was gone for he was missing and his family's missing. He had to come up with this bullshit story of like dementia or something, like just one case, just a random case of dementia. Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Dude, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's like, damn. But then it's also like, man, if that's your excuse, then you need to, if you're telling about this person, then find them. Where are they,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I
don't think people just don't exist like that.
They went off that Basic Instinct movie too, because there's the chick in the movie, the main bad person that he was imitating
She's getting
for that
told.
murder. She there's this guy named Manny in the movie. So they thought, oh, it's just some figment of his imagination. It wasn't a really.
Or he's
real
like making
person.
up this story just to do it for the movie.
Yeah.
But I wonder what those second set of hands are.
Yeah. They don't explain
Could
it.
have just been some bullshit friend and who was there or something, and then but he, was just like there doing the shit. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of fucked up people that would just do something like that, but wouldn't like kill a person, but they would do something. Some people, they don't look at animals like, and it's just like how, dude. Like sometimes the more I got older and the more I grow up, I see even like plants and trees, and I see everything for what it is. It's this living organism, and it's amazing, and I'm in awe looking at these things because it's like I know what we are. We're humans, and I'm used to that. But like if you think about like monsters, right? Like a bear or something. Like that thing, we think about monsters in our closet. Like a bear, that's a monster. Like a shark, those are living like aliens, Like compared to what we know. It's like, what the fuck is this thing? Like, where did you come from? What are you? Why are there so many
There's
different
some shit at the bottom of the ocean.
weird
that is
random things?
Fucking weird, like those fish that like illuminate and
Yeah.
stuff. That's crazy.
But like monsters though, those are like we make those up because so like a bear doesn't necessarily have like this sentientness to it. It's not like sentient. It's not like what's the word I'm looking for? Like purposefully want to harm humans. It's just it's just neutral.
Just does bear shit.
Yeah. But like monsters, they're like in your closet under your bed. They're like, I want to fucking kill humans. I want to suck your guts out of your stomach, out of your belly button.
Well, that's another thing that kind of like made me think during the documentary is that because these people's initial reaction to this guy killing kittens is fucking let's murder this guy. Like they're doing wrong, and then it's funny that like I think most people value like animal lives and over human lives. Like I think most people just rush to let's murder this guy for anything. Yeah, and it's funny because it's like
anything.
that's the same mentality that guy had, was to murder something. So it's like it's just a funny, interesting dynamic. Like I get why they say that. I get why they're mad because the innocence of an animal like that, that they can't defend themselves. But we're so quick to like turn it to that way where we want to murder that guy now. Like just keep killing. And it's like that's like the death penalty. Oh man,
Death penalty's so messed up.
death penalty's messed up because
you don't know if the person's actually guilty.
if we're gonna leave the choice of life or death up to the government,
up to
up to
lawyers,
the court system, it's such a faulty system to begin with.
it's a game.
Yeah, it's like even if that guy has murdered so many people, like you don't 100% know. And there's been people on death row that were innocent, and even if even if they were convicted and they're on death row, it still takes years and years and years anyways.
Yeah.
But
dude, that's something that I'm very passionate about. Like that point
I don't believe in the death penalty.
That point of view though of court systems and stuff. I always talk about this as like, this shit is a game. Like, what are we doing really? When I was a kid, I thought everything was figured out. Then you get older and you realize like, these people think they have it figured out. Like they think they have this system that they've been using for a long time and that it's good. And it does what it needs to do, I guess, in most of the time, right? But at the same time, lawyers and defendants and all those, defendants and prosecutors and all that stuff, it's all just a game. It's a win or lose game. And if it's set up like that, then you're never going to truly get justice. Because, like, there's the stories of lawyers who, like Better Call Saul, like, they know their client is guilty.
I don't know how you can do that job.
They try to like do anything
to be a defendant.
It's like, hey, did you murder the person? Tell me now if you did it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna try to figure out a way to get you out of it. It's like, dude,
what?
It should be like the lawyer who's defending the defendant. It's like if they find out he's guilty, like they really find out.
Like, I can't defend this dude.
No, not even can't defend him. It's like, yo, this dude's guilty for sure. I'm fighting against him too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you got to defend yourself, buddy, because we're against you.
Like, that's so corrupt. Like,
guilty.
lawyers can get so corrupt just because of the job that they have to be placed in.
It's just
that's
a game,
gotta be
man.
such a difficult job to defend someone that you know is guilty.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. My morals just wouldn't allow me to do that shit.
And then the plea bargain stuff, like, they make you plead guilty just to – it's all about money, and it's all about, like, these fines and all these things. It's like –
And the rich people it's meant for – to fuck the poor.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like there's even like sometimes if you want to do a lawsuit against a corporation, they'll just purposely like keep the court the process going just to suck you dry of lawyer fees and all that money and stuff to the point where like you'll just exhaust yourself. Like they don't even care about winning. They just want you to physically or to feel it in your wallet.
Yeah, yeah.
So like they can pretty much get away with shit, dude.
I saw that on a Last Week Tonight episode. That's what they were doing to like this one coal company or something like that. I forget exactly what happened. Well, basically that though. Like these people were like suing this company, and it was just doing that to exhaust them of their lawyer fees.
Yep.
And it's like it really should just be like a one-time thing. Like, hey, here's all the information. These are the facts. Judge, these are the facts. What are we going to do? And then the judge penalizes this corporation. But instead, it's all just a game. It's a stupid.
And I think if, like, say you're in that family's position and the court finally comes to a decision and they win that case, you shouldn't have to pay for the lawyer fees. Like, the government should be able to cover that shit for you.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you have to pay all that money for your win, you know? It's like, that's this bullshit. And especially, it's going to hurt just, like, well, I don't have a corporation that funds me. You know? Well, speaking of that, did you hear about, I don't know what the company's called, but it was a one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies that sells opiates. The head of that company got 5 years in prison. Because he was just overly promoting a drug that killed 8,000 people. It's like the spray under the tongue.
Yep.
They even did like a stupid shitty rap video about it, and dude, it's insane. This guy murdered 8,000 people, but since this dude's rich as fuck, 5 years is nothing to this dude. He's probably going to reduce his sentence, maybe even post bail in the meantime.
And he won't even be in like real prison. He'll be in like some kind of like
halfway house.
Martha Stewart prison.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
With the kitchen.
And it's like,
you could probably leave and come back.
That's why the system's so corrupt, because it's like the common man is going to get really fucked because of it, but rich people can pretty much buy their way out of prison.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm being Jamie. I'm being a
get
young
that
Jamie.
shit.
I can't find it though. I think I misspelled
Some
pharmaceutical.
other people are getting convicted too, and they're only like the max is like 33 months, and it's like, bro, you guys killed 8,000 people. It's insane.
That's more than the World Trade Center, man. And people aren't up in. It's so that type of shit, man.
Is it more?
It's just so,
There's a lot of people in that building.
dude. 8,000 did not. I don't think 8,000 people
3,000
died.
died,
I
right?
think it was like 3 or 4. Yeah, definitely not
dude.
8. But it's like, okay, what do we choose? We let the media decide for us what we should be upset about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like there's all this bullshit of, people aren't upset about. I mean, I guess they are. I'm not gonna say they're not. But it's not this huge thing when like oil companies spilling the ocean and like fuck all this stuff up and
We're sorry. You seen that in South Park?
yeah,
BP spilled another tanker in the ocean.
we're
sorry.
Here's a bit of money. I if you think about it, like if a corporation was a person, they would be such a fucked up person, dude.
They have more
but
rights
just
than
because
people, too.
they have more rights than people, and
insane.
basically it's like organisms, the people uniting to become this one virus, this like corporation virus, and people back it up with capitalism. Like, oh no, it's just capitalism, man. These people worked hard to be where they are. They deserve
Capitalism has erased true democracy.
it. Oh my god.
That's what pisses me off, that we're an actual oligarchy that masquerades as a democracy, and it's all about the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
And that's something that really stresses me out. It's like I want to help the world and contribute to the culture, but what the fuck am I going to do with my small pockets,
Mm-hmm.
It's the people that have all that money that refuse to do that kind of stuff. I know there's some people out there that are rich and actually give back.
Yeah, do a lot.
Yeah, but like still more people should be playing their part.
But
And it
that's the
sucks that,
thing,
like,
dude.
the
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can go.
No, it's people like mask like this incredible amount of greed with hard work and like, oh, this is capitalism. Like, and I agree with, I like capitalism. I like that dynamic, that structure. I think that can work, but I think we should have caps. There should not be like, because the thing is, then you just allow. You have to create funnels for other things to grow as well. You can't just oversaturate us one market, like Walmart, for example.
But if the goal of your democracy is just to profit as much as you can,
Then it's not.
That's not democracy.
Exactly. But like capitalism, though, like that's what it is basically.
Mhm.
And
Like free markets are great, but
yeah, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is like, people say, oh, they deserve every $1 billion that they have. They worked for that. They built that company. I get it. But the thing is, though, is like you're oversaturating that market, like Walmart, for example, and you're other people who are in that same mindset. Like you're saying, oh, this is capitalism. You just got to be an entrepreneur. It's so hard to be an entrepreneur, man. And
dude,
people,
it's so
you can't
tough.
own like a little TV store, and with your amount of money that you have to charge certain prices, and then people will just go to Walmart. So how can other people, like, what do you mean? Why are you
You're
just
forced to compete with that
Oh
shit too?
man, it's so stupid.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's when I dream of like the perfect structure like that, I dream of like everybody. I dream of a government that supports an entrepreneurial spirit more,
Yeah.
and like the common man can run his own business.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not the way that we're kind of. It's almost human nature's fault too, because like everything's so convenient when you can just get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
That Joe Schmo who owns a TV store ain't gonna be able to do what Amazon and
Hell
Walmart
no.
can do. So it is kind of our fault for feeding into it. But now they've pretty much made it our only option, and they mask it, their monopolies, by being like, oh no, there's the choice of two still. We always just like the choice of two. I don't know if that's a human nature thing
Yeah.
or that was on purpose by the system, but like, yeah, it's either Walmart, Target, it's either
Mhm.
Google or Bing,
Walgreens,
Windows, Mac.
Walgreens, CVS.
We only want two choices.
Yeah.
So then we don't have to think about all, just like even politics. Like
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are other choices out there, but we just want it simplified.
Red
to
or
two.
blue, red or blue,
Red or
and it's
blue.
only one or two people. It can't be like
Mhm.
five, like 5 here, 5 there. It's like, no, we have a front runner.
Yeah, it's always one or the other.
It's like, what the fuck? I don't want. But the thing is, too, dude, is like what you said about like picturing the perfect thing.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Like, I think it would be really dope if, like, for example, when it comes to all these different things, so like coffee is an example. Instead of having a Starbucks on every block, right?
Have Mocha Joe's.
Mocha Joe's. And then in the next city, you know, someone else who loves coffee, they make a little coffee shop. And then you have all these little coffee shops in different places and different vibes all over the place.
But
instead of just having this one monopoly of just like
right.
same bullshit ass coffee, man. I used to be a big fan of Starbucks. Fuck Starbucks, dude.
Fuck all those corporate fucking
Fuck right in the
conglomerates, dude.
ass.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like we just don't support the common man and the entrepreneurial spirit that we should be supporting. And it's even like with music. Like I'm forced to compete with fucking $1 million studios out there, $1 million record companies.
Yep.
Yeah, we have to compete with them. And it's like, goddamn, like, can I get a break? You know, like, it just sucks that, like, you're already put into an environment where you're forced to compete with people that have so much more money, so much more resources, so much more reach, you know, to the public.
Yeah.
It's like it's a losing battle any way you put it.
Yeah.
It's man, it's just rough.
So
It's rough out here.
Switching lanes a little bit.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you and your roommate had a really good talk last night.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my roommate had a really good talk last night, too. It's crazy because we talked for like 3 hours, my best friend and one of my best friends. And you had a really good talk with your roommate, too. So why don't you share with me?
Yeah, like I barely get to see this dude because he works like late night shifts. So he'll come home at like midnight.
You know him well or no?
Not that well because when I first moved in, all I knew was my sister's boyfriend.
Oh, so you never met him really like that?
You know, this is our like first big talk that we've had. I mean, we've had like small chit chat, but like he came home at like midnight, and I think he lives downstairs, but he came back up at like 1:30 to make himself some tea, and then
What
from
kind of tea?
I'm not sure, but from like 1:30 to 5 o'clock, we went into like 5 a.m. in the morning.
Ooh.
We fucking had this long ass conversation that started with one thing, and we just went deep into some shit. But
Tell me about it.
yeah, so I was watching this Netflix series called Haunted, which is supposed to be real actual stories, but then they like would cinematically like play what
Is
are
it
those
new?
called? It's fairly new. It's
Okay.
on Netflix. It's like a
Cinematically play it. It's like
reenactments.
reenactments. I wouldn't have got
But,
that.
They mix that with the actual people that are telling the stories in a room together with people that like can either like that are close with the person that's actually telling the whole story.
Yeah.
And a lot of them dealt with ghosts and things. And his name's Nat. He saw me watching that, and he's like, "Oh, I love this shit." And I'm just like, I was telling him like, I want to believe so bad in the paranormal, but I've never had an experience. I mean, maybe that's knock on wood for the better, that I've never had like contact with a ghost or anything like that. So we started with ghost stories, and this dude has had a shit ton of experience with ghosts. Because I was like, "Do you believe in this kind of stuff?" He's like, "Oh, I've seen ghosts." Like just totally like as it was normal. I'm trying to remember all this. He went on a lot of stories, and he's very.
Tell me the good ones.
Very Christian. I'll tell you the first one that he told me.
His family's Christian too.
Yeah, his dad was like a pastor, so like he's pretty deeply rooted in his faith. And
Before the first story,
yeah,
I gotta run to the bathroom really quick.
Okay, cool. Go Tinkle. So the first ghost story that he told me, he was like 18, staying at a friend's house, and it's like the first time he was over at this friend's house. He didn't know his family or anything like that, and he fell asleep on the couch, and he remembered his friend telling him that his dad kind of comes home late at night, and he was on the couch trying to sleep, but he was still awake, and then he saw like this person like walking in the living room, and he thought it was his dad. So he was like talking to the ghost, being like, "Oh, hey man, I hope you don't mind me staying on the couch or whatever." But he didn't respond. So then he kind of raised his voice a bit, not like yelling or anything, but he just kind of like raised his voice more to try to get this dude's attention, who he thought was his friend's dad. And then the ghost kind of like looked at him and like went up to him a bit and just kind of like stared at him like in a confused looking face. And then he like realized this is not his dad. Like, what the fuck? And then he like threw his blanket up, and then the ghost was gone after he like looked back. And he was about to ask his friend. He's like, "Dude, what the hell was that?" He's like, "Oh, sorry, man. I'm so sorry, dude. I'll tell you about this tomorrow. Just come stay in my room and sleep there." And apparently the next day, his friend tells him that before they got the house, the last person who lived there was a guy suffering from cancer, like an older guy, and he like committed suicide because he was in such pain from the cancer. So he killed himself, and then now he's like walking the house. And he had a shit ton of other like ghost stories and stuff like that too. But that made me like, I told him about my belief that like the main thing that like scares me about suicide is that I feel like that is a way to automatically kind of banish yourself into that
From
purgatory.
any afterlife.
Yeah, it's like you didn't value your own life enough, so that you just kind of like you cheat coded your way out of it to the point where you're now just some spectator ghost. That's like my ultimate nightmare.
Yeah.
Is like if I get so depressed that I off myself that I just become a spectator. You know how horrible that would be? Because like your life, it must have really sucked to the point where you wanted to do that, and now you still get to. Now you're still in that life, but now you're forced to not have a body and you can't play. It's like being like a spectator in like a Call of Duty game, but never getting back in. You know?
Never getting back in.
Oh man, we ended up talking about.
At least you don't have to poop and pee.
All right, you're right. We ended up talking about the idea of heaven and like what is that purgatory or that shadowy realm, and I just felt I was like, it's weird because he had so many experiences, but I haven't had one contact with a ghost. And I'm like, do you like, what do you think that is? And he kind of told me that he drowned once when he was 15, like to the point where his heart stopped. So maybe he like, his brain's more susceptible to tapping into that frequency because he was dead for a little bit. And I thought maybe that could be it. Because I do believe that there's some people that have a better sense of tapping into that extra realm.
Yeah.
That afterlife type realm. But I don't believe like medium psychics on TV and shit. I just feel like they're doing that for a profit.
Oh yeah.
At that
sure.
point, you're just in it for the money and trying to be a celebrity and shit, and it's all about you. And I've seen plenty of people get busted for their own powers, exposing them and shit. But I do believe that there are some cases like that really waters it down.
Yeah, dude.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, man. And we ended up talking about he told me a crazy story where like sometimes like it really made me kind of believe in destiny in a bit. He was going through some bad breakups, and he didn't know what he wanted to do with life. He was like he was in the army for a little bit, and I guess like a year ago. So I guess to backtrack, my sister's boyfriend would rent out some of the rooms in that house for Airbnb people. So sometimes some random dudes just come in, but like he was at a point. At that particular night where he was kind of really stressing about like what's he gonna do in his life, you know? And that day some new random guy came in, and he was Airbnb-ing, and he ends up talking to this guy because he's kind of a chatty dude, and they vibed right away because they both had military experience. And then he said he was a pilot, and he started talking about just being a pilot and shit. He's like, and now my roommate is going to school to become a pilot.
Oh wow.
So like he had those thoughts in his head, and just so happens that dude, and that's what makes me kind of believe in the whole faith of things too, because he's a very religious dude, and he was like praying to God about like, what do I do? You know, he didn't know what to do. Sure enough, fucking destiny, dude. The guy comes in, a pilot, talks to him about being a pilot, and he's like, this is now my course of life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then he also had he's a musician as well. Like, yeah, he plays guitar.
Oh, dope.
And he went through a really bad.
Does he do it like seriously, or?
He used to do it seriously, so he kind of shifted his whole
like
mindset about it now
something?
too. Yeah, and he had like he was in talks for like a record deal, and it fell through, and that's what kind of really probably demotivated him.
Yeah.
But he still does it from time to time. But he was telling me, and he showed me this song of him just. He went through a bad breakup, and in the song he talks about moving to Bend, Oregon to get away from like all these ex-girlfriends and stuff. And sure of fucking enough, he's now moving to Bend, Oregon to become a pilot. It was like 2 years before he even had the idea in his head. Like he must have had some kind of attraction to Oregon, but it's crazy that the pilot school was exactly where he was talking about moving to.
Yeah.
Insane. And
he's going straight down that Oregon Trail.
yeah, for real. And then he met his current girlfriend from like in the weirdest way possible. Cause I was telling him about the dating life, and like I was kind of telling him my stresses about like I hate Tinder because I seem to be attracting the wrong type of people.
Like we were talking about last time.
Yeah, it's all physical, and it's like it's hard to like. I just don't like the games we play. Yeah, we were talking about in the other episode, and then I was telling about how like when I go to the bars, I think I'm gonna like go out and be social and meet new people, but I never do. I just get like in my head, and I just stick with the people that I'm with. I never really meet people. That's a hard way to date people too. And he was telling me not to kind of stress out about it, just still put myself out there. But he said he met his girlfriend in the weirdest way possible. Like there was a dog on the road that he like pulled over for to check for like vital, like see if he got hit or something like that. And it was the weirdest thing. And like he didn't see any kind of evidence for him to like, or for like any kind of trauma or anything like that. But the dog was like basically not breathing. And he was a practicing nurse, so he kind of knows how to do CPR.
Oh, male nurse, yeah.
So he was doing CPR on this dog, and this lady like comes out and like starts filming it because she thought it was really cool that he was like helping out this dog. And apparently, his now girlfriend saw that video online of him resuscitating this dog, found out who he was, reached out to him, and be like, "Hey, that was super cool what you did." That's how he met his girlfriend.
Wow.
Like, there's some crazy shit, man. Like,
that's dope.
Man, and yeah, we got deep into religion and things like that too, which makes me kind of want to like pick up the Bible, you know?
Like what about religion?
Just kind of having like to wholeheartedly kind of believe in God and Christ. And I was telling him like my conflictions with it. I was kind of my personal story from like being an atheist to agnostic and like, but I'm still curious to find out those answers.
What is agnostic? Like you
Agnostic
believe in eggs?
is like, yeah.
Oh, agnostic.
Agnostic.
I'm just kidding.
Agnostic is like
No, I know what it is.
Oh,
I'm
you
kidding,
do? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but when life got me feeling some type of way, I lay down, open up a Bible page. Still feel somehow like I've not been saved. I'm wasting the time
Nice
that's
lyrics,
in my
bro.
days. It's like all I want to do is just smoke and get paid.
Ooh.
It's funny though,
Ooh.
because money goes and it comes back around. That's what they say. But it hasn't came back in a few days, man. Tell me what it is, Logan. Tell me what it isn't.
So
What's the price for a chance up in prison? Look at the life that I have been living. What is my purpose? What is my mission? I don't know yet. I'm going to find out soon. I'm headed to the top like 12 o'clock noon. It's hard to lose. Like when my parents found out I was using drugs. Don't use too much. The ways of my generation's fast paced, man. We losing patience. Cigarettes keep bringing hospitals patients. I'm losing my mind. Like, Doc, will he make it? People don't think they just cocking to aim it. Son lost pops on the block he was claiming. Mom lost some and the cops are dangerous. I'm thankful for what I've got, not what I can't get. Sorry for going off on that.
Dog.
Anyways, my bad.
Anyways,
Continue.
I was kind of telling him my views of why I was so on one side of the argument, and now I'm like more open-minded to maybe believe in that kind of faith. But growing up, I never went to church or anything like that. I was technically raised Lutheran, and I was baptized and all that kind of jazz. But my dad was he was raised by like the nuns and stuff, and he went to Catholic school, but they like beat the shit out of him back then. It was like that kind of environment back then. And I was kind of telling him my gripes with the church to the point where like, because you get all those cases come out to where like there's pedophile priests and all that kind of stuff, and it was hard for me to want to be a part of that and support that, or like the fact that all is forgiven no matter what you do as long as you go and confess to somebody, you know? And he was kind of breaking it down and more like it's more about being accountable. And it's not so much the church itself, it's like the overall faith. Yeah, it's getting like kind of clouded.
Is he Catholic?
I don't know if he's Catholic, but he's
okay.
Christian.
Yeah.
That's as much as I know. But yeah, I was telling him like this world just feels like it's full of evil, and I feel like it's the devil's playground. So like, I just feel like it was hard for me to believe in a God if this world was so corrupt and like he was actually on our side, because if he was really on our side, you feel like he would maybe care more about making the world a better place, or I don't know how it all works, but it does feel like this world has been corrupted by a source of evil. But if evil exists, so does good. So I do believe there is a higher power and a God and a universal consciousness that kind of connects us all. But it was hard for me to just commit to one idea too, because I feel like all religions have something good in them, but I just feel like it's not being taught the right way. I think humans have fucked up religion. They've corrupted like the real core beliefs of like loving thy neighbor and loving yourself, and like I just feel like the wrong messages are getting spread, and it's corrupt at its not at its core, but it's like it's the way life seems to be. It's like pushing back on you all the time. It's not really so much trying to help your neighbor and help the next man. Like I feel like we've really watered down what true faith is, and we're not really teaching the message as well as we should be.
Yeah.
Do you kind of feel like that? Like, do you feel like just like the message is not getting spread the right way?
Yeah, for sure. It's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of the faults of
man.
the greed and controlling and all that kind of stuff, and people lose sight of what really matters. And that's what Jesus as a prophet came down, well, as the Son of God came, basically, whether you believe he's the Son of God or not, he taught these beautiful lessons that have been taught by other people as well, other I'm trying to find the word, like spiritual teachers and stuff like that, of like, the way we're doing things now is not beneficial to the betterment of the world, and like treat others how you want to be treated. Turn your cheek, like stop sacrificing all this bullshit. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, we got to help others. Right. Instead of, when you have a party, right? Like, be a kingdom person. Like, when you have a party, don't just invite the people and that's all you ever do. Invite the prostitutes and the people who don't get attention,
Prostitutes would turn that party up, baby.
Exactly. Like, but invite the people who don't get attention, who are on the low end,
Mm-hmm.
like the poor people. Like, help the poor people, be with them, spend time with them, because they're just like you. It's like, it's all just like we're clouded by these, the structural things of how the way everything's set up. But really, it's very simple. It's just like, give and have mercy.
I feel like it's such a, like, religion or faith is like such a personal relationship with God that it's like, I think community is great and all, but when you like put the structure of church in it and the power, that I think that's the main thing, is like the power it had. That's why the corruption came through, because they wanted that power. But like for religion, it's such a personal thing. That's why it's so hard for me to just commit to something and say I am this. I'm a Christian, or I'm a Jew.
Yeah.
Or it's so hard for me to just think that one part of the truth is actually the whole truth.
I think that it's all very simple and we overthink it. Mm-hmm. I think that just because things are like that, with the power structure of the church and all that, whatever, we can take any good out of it. And I'll say this, like, one of my coworkers, I went to a mosque with him to prayer one time because we were going to go out to eat afterwards. And I went in there, and it was just after that mosque shooting in another country. I forget where it was. But, they were talking about it, and I was looking at everyone, and, they're all just there to, meditate on these, good thoughts and, synchronize with each other in a good vibration and whatever. And those are like the hippie ways of saying it. But it's like, I was like, man, this is just like a church, it's just there's different things of the same thing. And we can't look at them like, it's okay to look at them like they're different, because they are. But at the same time, they're the same. It's not just like your religion, my religion. It's like our religion, right? And it's like different sectors of our religion. Like, you can have the same thing with different versions of it, right? And everybody's version is different, but it all says the same thing, basically. There's little things here and there, but it's like we're trying to figure out this world and we're trying to figure out this life, and we never can. We'll never be able to. Mm-hmm. But the one thing we can do is do the things that we know, the things that have been given to us, and the things that, are right. I don't know.
He also told me a story after a rough breakup that he like believed that God talked to him. And this dude's a completely normal guy, but isn't it funny, like, if people say, if you go out to like a doctor and say, God talked to me, he'd throw you right on meds. He'd say, diagnose you with schizophrenia. Yeah. But like, I was like asking him because I was just curious. I'm like, how did you know that God was talking to you? Like, did he have like an accent or
Yeah.
something? Because it's weird to like fathom a different voice in your head talking to you. But he's like, it wasn't like that. It was more like it's some kind of feeling. But basically, he had a really rough breakup, and then he heard something say, like, "Do you love her?" to him, and then he was also like, "Be patient," and like he felt like it wasn't. He was just like tapped into that consciousness.
Yeah.
Like it was like more of a feeling than it was an actual physical voice in his head.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is kind of funny. Like if you said God talked to you, people would think you're a fucking loon.
Yeah. God texted me.
He said,
I got
"What's
the
your
message.
Wi-Fi password?"
I have the message right here. Oh shit! Where did it go?
You deleted it?
He must have deleted it. I mean, I swear, God. It said
It was a
from
miracle.
the sender was God, the sender, and he sent me a message, and it said, "Do you love her? Be patient." And I
Damn.
wrote back, yes, and then it said, "Do not reply to this message. Fees may occur." And I'm like, damn, God, you charging me to talk to you,
dude,
guy?
his time's precious, man. You can't be talking to everybody.
I think
Gotta charge
that,
it.
yeah, I think it's all just really crazy and weird. Like, even with the ghost stories, it's like, I don't know, you know? I have no idea. I can't say this or that because I hear people say those stories, and me, myself, I've never experienced it, but that doesn't mean that it's not true. I mean, there's some people who've never seen the color red because they're colorblind. Doesn't mean it's
Mhm.
not there. Your version of red may be different than my version
Yeah,
of
dude.
red. And
My dad's super colorblind.
yeah.
One time we were at a basketball tournament in St. Cloud. Two maroon teams were playing against each other. And he goes,
Mhm.
"Oh, look at that, green versus green." Like, what? Oh,
Yeah.
do you know what's really weird? I fuck up the colors sometimes. Like, I know what colors are which. Like, I know it's green, I know it's red.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes it just slips out, and I call green red. And that's the colors my dad fucks up on.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird? Like, I'll say, "Oh, dude, it's a red light, go." And I meant to say green. I've
Like
catch
some
myself
kind of
doing
like
that.
dyslexia or something.
Subconsciousness is like this. I have like some weird
Yeah.
color reference thing. I don't know. Really odd.
What were we talking about?
We are back. Matt had to get some food, get that tum-tum full.
Yeah, because we're going to be heading out in a little bit.
Yep. Which kind of brings me a little bit to something else we were talking about. Just about we talked about depression a little bit, and like trying to find happiness and finding a balance of it all. But I was kind of grieving my stresses of just about how I see people do like the basic things in life of just eating, dating, working a job, and they're totally content. Like, I've lived with people that totally content with just living the bare basics of life. But I've never felt comfortable just kind of being a human. Like, I know those things are important, but it's very hard for me just to think that that's all my life is. Like, I want to give something back to life. And music is something that I do therapeutically. It's like halfway just personal for me, but it's my way of also connecting with people that might relate to some of the subject matter that I talk about. But it's just hard for me to be content with just a life that's basic like that. Like, work your job, get some good sleep, eat right. Like, I still don't feel satisfied like that. And all that time I sacrifice on music, I usually kind of put that stuff to the back burner, and which stresses me out too, because I'm not eating right, I'm not sleeping right, because I'm too focused on putting all this pressure on myself. That's a big thing that stresses me out, is all the pressure I kind of just put on myself to be a success. And I don't know, man. Just living a basic life doesn't seem enjoyable to me. Like, I know I've got plenty of things to be grateful for. But sometimes that gets all clouded when you put all this pressure on yourself to be something more than yourself.
I hear you, but what constitutes basic? You know, because the thing
Mhm.
is that I think and I know exactly where you're coming from, but you have to take a inventory of what matters to you and your idea of a fulfilling life, because we can get that screwed up sometimes with like the way that media is and all these things. We think certain things are like success, and we chase these things, and then come to find out it's like, oh, I'm in this huge house and I have all the money in the world, but I'm still lonely and sad, you know?
He was talking about that too. Like,
Because, yeah.
he notices a trend, like, these artists, are they really happy? You know, is Kanye West really a happy person? And like, I don't want to reach that level of fame to where I'm constantly under a microscope and have the paparazzi following me and shit. But I do want to be recognized for my art and respected in the field, my craft that I'm doing. But there's also that seed of doubt in my brain where I feel like, although I don't believe that music is like a waste, but it could be like, when I think about doing this, I'm like, is it really going to show results? Like, is this just like a giant waste of time? Should I be putting my time into something else that could maybe fulfill me a bit more than what music's been doing? So I just constantly have this battle in my brain about if I am on the right path to doing what is actually going to truly make me happy or not. I might think it's making me happy in the short term, but is it really long term healthy for me?
Life's most persistent and urgent question: what are you doing for others?
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King.
Living for others is a great way to live by too, and I feel very selfish sometimes when I just think about how is this gonna make me a better person? How is this gonna affect me? You know?
I know exactly. Sorry, I had to get my other bag.
Get your bag at it.
I know exactly what you mean though, but and that's the thing though, is like you have to be gentle with yourself and patient. And I get what you're saying. You know, it's like you're looking at these people living and they're just living the routine, you know, the daily routine of like eating good or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you don't want that for yourself. So really what it is that you're maybe the kind of person that you want change, you know, like me, for example. I love change. Like, I was doing contracting, moving around different IT jobs, you know, like new experiences, right? New companies. I lived in Kenya when I was younger, and then I moved back here, and then I love traveling and going to different places and moving to new places and being around new people. Like, change. Like, I can't be in the same thing too long. But I'm also searching for that meaning, that question. But really what it is, dude, is, and this I know for a fact.
Factual?
Okay?
Is this factual?
When you help others, and that's just as plain as it can be, just help others. It can be anything. It's not, you know, anything specific, but when you're giving to others and you're sharing your time and your energy into someone else, that is the most fulfilling thing in this world. You know, and it doesn't even have to be humans. It can be animals. It can be anything beneficial to the betterment of this reality or whatever, you know. But when you're doing that, then you feel that fulfillment. You're not chasing something, and you can still do things on the side, but you're getting that because what that is that you're feeling is this detachment from meaningfulness, you know, from meaningness or meaningful things or whatever, because like everything that you're doing is for yourself currently, you know. Like, I got to find a good job for myself so I can get money for myself, so I can make music for others, but I'm doing it for myself, you know, like, so that my stuff can get appreciated and heard and everything, and it's for myself, you know, which is good. That's what people do. Yeah. But, you know, nothing is ever going to work out like anybody else's story. You know, we look at these other people and we're like, man, when is it my time? When is it my chance? You know, it's not, you might not, your chance might not even be like their chance, or your chance might be something completely different. Right. But it's all about accepting and letting life take its course and being open to anything and not falling short of your expectations and not falling into bad things that are going to derail you, you know?
I fear just feeling like a hamster on the wheel mentality sometimes, you know? Like, I just don't want to become that guy who's so comfortable in his routine that he's not going out and actually living life to the fullest. And one thing that he was telling me is, like, maybe you just need to, like, travel, because I've never, like, went somewhere on my own, completely by myself, like taking that Greyhound bus to somewhere and just kind of seeing how, like, I don't feel fully independent in that way yet. Like, a lot of, like, anxiety comes up just talking about it, you know? Like,
you do have to travel. That's the bigger thing.
Yeah, that might be something that's super beneficial for me.
Me and my friends, 2 years ago, we wanted to go to Canada. Me and my friend and my other friend. Well, I met her, but she's my friend now. We ride all the way up to Canada. I drive all the way up to the border in Michigan. And we get there and find out I can't get in because I have a DUI. So then we're in the immigration office in Canada being denied, and Julia's looking up tickets to Mexico from Chicago's airport. So we drive from Michigan to Chicago. Chicago's in Michigan. No, Illinois.
No,
Chicago's
Illinois.
We drive from Michigan to Chicago, hop in the airport, and fly to Mexico. Go to Puerto Vallarta, and we're staying at a hostel. And I meet these people that go to USC, California College, and I made friends with this girl, Sabby, that I'm still friends with to this day. She actually just moved to Minnesota to do some news reporting stuff and she journalist stuff, you know. But I met her. We went out to eat and everything, and like. I wouldn't have done any of that if I didn't just spend my money to go experience this thing, you know? And I don't know, you have to make changes in your life and get out there, you know?
Right.
Like
as much as that's funny. That's like the weird part where it's like I feel very comfortable in my own little shell, you know? But I also have that longing for adventure and longing for something more. And I feel like that would be something super beneficial and therapeutic for me, is just to kind of like, I've always had those dreams of like just driving and with no destination, but like getting the fuck out of the state and just doing something else somewhere else. Like I don't even know necessarily what it would be.
My buddy Nick did that. He drove all the way to California. He played this random poker tournament, drove his way through like the Red Oaks and stuff, and just went on this huge road trip by himself, you know?
Right,
And
I think that's super cool. And
yeah.
like, it's a good way of independence to kind of show yourself that you can be an individual and you can hold your own, you know? You can live by like on your own independently and kind of like get rid of some of those fears of going out of your comfort zone. That's a big thing, and I think that would be super beneficial, but at the same time I still want to like have a little bit of a game plan to like maybe if there's a show in Chicago or something, then just go take a road trip there or something like that. But
Yeah, man.
that'd be pretty cool. Go to Colorado and get high as shit. It'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Chewing. Get that in you, man.
Maybe me and you could devote some time to looking into some charities, and we can do that together and go meet people and work, you know, to give to the community or to help with something, you know. That I think that would be a good start. And then next time you get some vacation, or even like a Saturday or Sunday, like you could literally just drive all day Saturday and then drive back on Sunday and just go somewhere. You could drive to Colorado, you know,
Right.
or drive to Iowa, wherever, and then just drive back the next day. But you can take a weekend and do that, you know, like you can do that. It's totally possible. You could drive down to Colorado, just do it, you know.
It's that little guy in my brain that just always fucking makes me not want to do that shit.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's just the fear of getting out of that comfort zone. I really got to get more used to that. Because, I mean, even with music, that was a good way to break my comfort zone, was to go up there, start performing, and start being...
And you did that.
And I did it. So, I don't know, man. Like, there's just that little voice still in my head about, like, preventing me to do that kind of stuff. And I also think about... money really stresses me out. So I think about just, like... All right, cool. I go drive somewhere else, but what am I doing? You know, like if you just go drive somewhere and drive back, what did you really do? You know, like I just want to make sure that I'm actually doing something if I'm gonna go travel somewhere.
Yeah,
like you gotta have a little bit of a purpose to it, you know.
No, but I get you. I hear
Mhm.
what you're saying.
No, but I got it.
But you don't need a purpose.
Right.
You can just go and the purpose will come.
True that. Like that's the thing too. Like that might just be. You never know what kind of benefits you can do just from doing that. Like you don't know how it's really gonna affect you. Like one thing. Do you know Mike Posner, right?
Dude, that's sick. I was literally finishing chewing, and I was thinking of Mike Posner and his walk across the country.
America.
Because I heard him on Theo Von's podcast, and he was talking about that, and he's such a down-to-earth dude, man. I didn't know that. But, yeah, just like that, dude. You don't need a purpose. You just go out and do it, you know, and you meet people along the way.
I thought that was so cool what he did.
He even said, he was like, in his mission statement, it's like to make each place that I cross a little bit better than than when I got there, you know?
Yeah.
And then when he was talking to Theo Von, he was like, man, how fucking ignorant and big-headed of me to think that I'm going to make a place better when in actuality, that place made me better.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? It's like we're trying to spread our change when really like giving to others, giving to charity. It's like, oh, let me come and help you, you know? But really, it's like me doing this is helping me.
Right. It's always kind of about what's in it for me type mentality. But sometimes when you do things for others, it actually benefits you. But like that maybe not have been your purpose in the initial run.
Mm-hmm.
How's that salad, bro? Looks good. What is that, a Cobb salad?
Mm-mm.
I'm all right.
No, I'm showing you.
Oh, I thought you were offering me food. I'm like, I'm good.
Cucumber, turkey, some kind of green leaf, tomatoes, and little pasta noodles.
Ooh. What kind of salad is that called?
I don't know.
Oh.
And this is Parmesan chicken soup.
Parmesan chicken soup. I saw the spinach in there. Some good shit.
It's from Cafe Latte. It's delicious.
Ooh. Cafe Latte. Shout out Cafe Latte.
But yeah, man, I think that, you know, we can, when we get those, like, that depressed feeling or whatever, it's just because we're not doing enough, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to do it. You just have to do anything. Even if you get that feeling, just literally put on some clothes, some warm clothes, and just go outside in the winter and just run. And not even run to exercise. It's not even about exercising. Like, oh, let me exercise. Like, no. I'm just literally going out there to run. Me and Nick were playing a poker tournament all day one day. And I was super deep in this big tournament. And then I ended up playing this hand wrong. Like, come to find out, I played it wrong. You know, you could have played it anyway, but for that specific scenario, I should have played it differently. And I ended up, like, getting out. And everything kind of just, like, because I had this huge riding on it, like, oh, I'm going to go so deep, and I'm already deep, and let's do this. And once it stopped, it was just like, like, I have all this energy, everything, and I literally went outside, and I ran, bro. I just ran.
Really?
And I came back in here, and I was like, it's good, you know?
Yeah, we're all right. We're good. Yeah, man,
We can't just sit there with those feelings.
I used to run a lot, too. That really did seem to help me mentally. When I was, like, stressed out, just go run and get that all out of me, you know? Time management, though, is what really stresses me out. Because it's weird. It's like when I'm stuck in my room trying to put myself to, like, music or getting shit done, I always seem to get distracted to the point where, like, I want to be, like, hanging out with friends or doing other things. But then when I'm, like, out and about and doing those things, I don't even want to do those things. I want to be back home, sitting in my room, trying to be productive, you know? It's like this constant pull towards each situation that I'm doing to do the opposite thing. And I'm trying to find a balance to it all. It's all about finding a balance. That's the biggest part.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that's the biggest thing that stresses me out is that I can't, like, sit there and enjoy the moment as well.
Oh,
I really gotta,
that's what you got to do. Yeah.
That's what I got to do. Like, when I'm having that time with my friends, I got to really actually embrace it instead of me just stressing about, oh, shit, I should be doing this or doing that, and actually just kind of, like, living in that moment at that time. And that's another thing why I get so stressed out about dating, because, like, if I'm not feeling the connection with somebody, I feel like I'm wasting my whole night towards just doing nothing with this person and just talking,
having sex and leaving.
Yeah, that kind of shit. So I don't know. That's why I feel like whenever my next relationship, I want to make sure that, like, it's somebody I actually truly care about. But it's just like there's a lot of time you got to put in that you don't even know if this is the right person you should be putting that time in for. Time is such a valuable thing, you know. You don't want to waste it, and it's hard for me to think that I'm not wasting my time.
Yeah, but time is just now. No, time is just now, you know. And what you were saying about being in the moment, or what you were saying specifically, because I have that feeling. Everybody has that feeling of like, let me sit down and study. You know what? I think I'd rather be doing this. Or, man, I just really want to be around people now. And then you go out and do that, and you're like, man, I'm not doing shit. I need to go back home and actually do this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so you're at home doing the thing that, like, studying or whatever, and then it's like, I'm not in the moment. I'm thinking about these illusionary possibilities of things that I could be doing right now. And instead of realizing that those things will come in time, not like I'm never going to see my friends again, not like I'm never going to do that again, but I want to do it right now, you know? But really, this is what I'm doing right now, and I need to accept it. It's about acceptance. And like, if I just accept that this is what I'm doing right now, and there's a reason why I'm doing it, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a reason. It's not like I don't just go and learn about how to put together a car for nothing. It's because I want to know how to put together a car. It's just the process that's daunting.
Yep.
And it's like, oh man, you know what? Maybe I'll just do this later or whatever. And then you go out and do something and you're like, man, I really want to learn how to put together a car. You're looking at the end result, you know? But it's like, I need to get, like, music, you know? It's like, oh, what am I doing this for? I'm wasting my time. I'm not anywhere that I need to be. You're looking at the end result. You know,
Right.
you're trying to eat a cake without mixing the flour together and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's all about the process and the journey there. You know, like, nobody just boom like that. And sometimes it can take years and years and years, and it can take forever. But you have to be persistent, man. Like,
Yeah.
you never know what can happen and who can happen, and you might not even ever be like some superstar, but you might have a good fan base of 100,000 people or something, and that's a lot of people. 50,000 even. You know, just any kind of fan base. I mean, like Duncan Trussell, for example. Like, I love Duncan Trussell. I love his podcast and everything, but he's not super famous by any stretch of the imagination. Right. But he is to me. But he's, you know,
the main thing is like, I just want to be able to do what I love, and not have to like work a job that I don't want. Or
yeah, but
don't like.
But how old is Duncan Trussell? How long do you think it took him to get to where he's at right now?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Any one of those comedians, you know. Kevin Hart had to work. He had to go out and travel and move to places.
There's beauty in the struggle of it too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a J. Cole line, I believe.
Yeah,
but
there's beauty in the struggle.
I get it.
Beauty.
It's like, what the fuck would we have to talk about if we didn't struggle? You know, nobody wants to hear Mr. Everything's perfect in my life too.
Yeah.
know?
See, the thing is though, dude, is like, when it comes to music as an example, you have to realize like what your roommate was saying about traveling and moving out. You got to do that, man, because there might be some city in Oregon that, like, you go to that bar and you do that acoustic song of yours, and people are like, whoa, man, where do I follow you at, you know? Mm-hmm. And then they start following you, and then they tell their friends, and that's little Oregon, you know? So they're doing that, and maybe only a few hundred people even. But now your streams are building and people are finding out about you. Then they tell other friends, and maybe some people like it, maybe some people don't. But then you travel down here and you're just driving and you're like, oh, there's an open mic. You know, look up open mics, or you schedule a show or something, and then you do that, and you're pushing your brand out there, because the brand is not, the people aren't going to come to you.
Right.
You have to do that, you know?
And it is crazy.
You have to put in the work.
How big of a difference a year could make. Because, I mean, look at
a
Nerdy.
year is so
in
much
2
time.
years, this dude is now headlining first half.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, what if he would have just gave up 2 years ago?
Yep.
And he wouldn't even be doing half the shit that he probably didn't think he could fathom doing. But he just kept at it and kept being persistent. And who knows, you know? Like,
and he's 100%
just like
himself.
Those people that are overnight successes, you know, people like to see them that way. Oh, all of a sudden he just blew up. No, this motherfucker has just been persistent for so long and stayed true to himself that his overnight success was actually a culmination of years and years of struggling. Years and years.
That's pretty much every story.
Mm-hmm. Like how Lizzo was like living in her van, and it seemed like to everybody else she probably looked like she was a person with no direction, you know? And now she's one of the most successful artists out there right now. So it is about like putting yourself out there, and it can be scary, it can be daunting, but
believing in yourself, you know, following that dream and doing the things to make it happen until it happens. Because sometimes you're going to do those things. You're going to do the things to make it happen, and it's not happening. But it is happening. It's just not what you expected.
mm-hmm.
And then eventually, the thing that you thought you expected turns into something that you would have never expected.
Yeah.
Like your idea of rich and famous, for example, not yours, anybody, what your idea of rich and famous or success, the thing that you're picturing is not a real thing.
No.
So it's not going to look exactly like that, you know? But then when it does happen, you might not even see it because you're so blinded by living in the future and living in these expectations that you can't see the thing that you actually have, you know?
Right.
Like eventually when that thing does happen, because it doesn't turn out exactly how you expected, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like someone who plays to win the lottery all the time. And they're like playing the lottery and all that. But they have like their brother is like a pro poker player who could teach them how to play poker. But instead they're just focused on this dream of winning the lottery. When they don't even know if they would have taken a different route and learned poker, a different streamline of reality, they might have went and played a tournament and won $100K in that reality, that version of timeline, you know? But instead they're on this timeline because they're not like looking for different ways. They're only looking at this one way to do it.
Way. Yeah.
So same thing with music. It's like I have to look at many different ways to get my music out there, not just putting it on these platforms, not just doing these shows, but what else can I do? Travel. You know, I got to hit up different spots. I can't just do it in Minnesota.
Yep.
Minnesota's my hometown. It's my place that I will always, this is the hub, you know, it's the hub and I'll still be here, but I need to travel. I need to do other things, you know?
And it can be a stressing thing to be like, all right, is this the right path that I'm on right now? Like, even like, to go back to like dating, like, am I at the right spot to meet that right person at that right moment? Because a lot of it is just being in the right moment and finally like getting the time to put yourself out there to connect with somebody. But we like that's the tricky part of life is like we don't know what path we're on, you know, like and that's what stresses me out too, and sure stresses a lot of people out. Like, am I doing the right things at this moment? Am I actually like on the right path to find that person I love or to achieve the success that I want to see?
Yep.
It's all a mystery. It really is just all a mystery. And
but it's
that's
not for
where
you to
faith
know
comes
right
in.
now, you know? Yeah,
Yeah,
faith.
that's
exactly.
where faith comes in. And that's what also makes me think like maybe I should start kind of thinking deeper about religion and stuff. Not that I don't, because I do, definitely. But like, how can I have faith in myself if I don't have faith in something higher than me, something bigger than me, you know? And I gotta have faith in the process, which in turn will help me have more faith about myself.
Mm-hmm.
But like, did I even have faith to begin with? You know, like.
Come to church with me tomorrow morning.
Are you going to church tomorrow?
Yeah, I go to church every Sunday with my parents.
Shit.
Dude, I love my church. I told you about my pastor.
I
He's
can't
very
open the
down to
door.
earth.
My skin burns, man.
No, I told you about my pastor. Very down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't think? No, there's a lot of people there. They actually like have people who from this one recovery place that come and like they're very open to all, you know, all different kinds of. Like this dude, this pastor is literally talking to people about setting up a tiny home thing in their huge church parking lot for homeless people. Like they actually do the work to bring these people in. They have like. They sometimes let homeless people stay the night and stuff and like have them have special dinners and stuff, you know. They have this whole program actually where they have like people like a shelter for people in the church overnight and
Well, that's really
volunteers come and like watch over and everything, you know.
That'd
Like
be
they utilize for the better. They're like a real church. They're like
that's dope. See, that's what I want.
Jesus' idea of a church.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like the hub for a community that actually is trying to help out thy neighbor.
Yeah. I need to get some water.
That's
real
cool,
quick.
man. Get your water. I think we should start doing some Reddit on Reddit to end this thing. So we're gonna be doing some Reddit on Reddit, a favorite part of the show.
People's favorite.
People's favorite, definitely. I got a good one here. This is a very hard question to answer, but let's see what Reddit has to say. The question is, what has been your biggest fuck up leading up to this point in life? Top one was having a kid with the wrong person really ends your life for the most part. That is so true, though.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Wow.
oh my God, that's like,
You know people like that?
it's such a fear. I mean,
I know some people
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, I only know a couple people like that where they still make it work. And if you ask them, still having a kid was one of the biggest life-changing moments of their life. And they still love that kid to death. But yeah, that's a huge fear of mine is like knocking up the wrong person. Oh my God, that would stress me out, man. that you're tied with that person that you don't even like for the rest of your life, basically, because you're gonna have to be there for all the family get-togethers.
Yep.
Just anything with the kid. Yeah, man, and mixing your DNA with that person, you know, like that's the thing too. Like,
Freaking idiots breeding.
yeah, dude.
Idiocracy.
Yeah, like Idiocracy. Good movie, by the way. Cult classic. But yeah, that is a big fear of mine for sure. Is to make sure that if I'm gonna combine my DNA with somebody to create somebody else, you gotta be really selective.
Yeah, man.
You can't just be sticking your dick in anything, man.
Oh, you have to be so careful about it too, man. You never know how that stuff works. I think my sperm doesn't work, but
I actually have that same kind of feeling too, dude. My cousin. So I have the great responsibility of being the last one in my family to actually be able to carry my last name, because the only other guy with the true last name, Sawatsky name, he was infertile, and also his wife had complications of having kids too. So they adopted this little Russian baby and this little Korean girl, but like they're not, you know, truly biologically in the family to carry that lineage, you know. Yeah, I guess I'm the fucking last one, but I also feel like sometimes I'm infertile. Like, I don't know why I have this thought, but maybe because my cousin is, so it makes me kind of a little worried. But
yeah, that's it.
yeah, I don't even know if I want kids, to be honest. I don't know if I want to bring somebody in this life, you know.
I think I want a kid, but when the time is right, you know.
Yeah.
Like I have to be able to support them and myself.
Like I don't want that kid to struggle.
And not just bullshit support, not just like working check to check support. Like I need to be financially supreme.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
Exactly, because I want to give that kid everything I can. But if I'm fucking struggling,
because we don't know where the future is gonna lead.
Yeah, but if I'm struggling just to make ends meet, that kid's not gonna have a very good life. You know? Mm-hmm. You know, we just want to make sure that our kid's gonna have the best life possible. This one guy said being a floater. Meaning being with friends with multiple friend groups in life, but without really being a solid part in any one of those.
Oh man, groups. Wow.
That's a big thing too. Like you think you have all these friends because you're in a bunch of these groups, but you're not really genuinely connecting with them. I kind of feel like that too. Like one big thing of mine, like being a musician, like I know all these people that are going through the kind of the same struggle we're going through as artists. I feel like I'm in a lot of friend groups, but I haven't been like close enough with all those friends to really
have anything
value.
Like long lasting and meaningful.
Yeah, and it's like that's some ways my fault because I'm not reaching out to these guys much. Like I only see them at shows and we're really tight, but like I want to be able to hang out with these guys,
like hang out with you off the show,
and like make music together and things like that. But I have a lot of those friends now that are just like that, like where I'm like I'm part of these groups. I consider myself to be, but I still feel like I'm the floater in the group too. Yep. So I can totally relate to that.
That's really good. Yeah, I feel that too. Like I mean, I have solid friends and everything, but there were points in my life where I was kind of just like, you know, hanging out with different people and stuff, and then I see other friends who have like a super solid friend group from like their class or whatever, and it's like, man, that looks so nice, you know, to just have this super solid set of people that you've just kind of been with the whole time, you know. But it's also important to float around and to, you know, but
put yourself out there.
Yeah,
because you don't want to be the guy with no friends either.
Exactly. But that person was probably floating around, but not like really contributing anything either, you know. So that's why they were trying to find their meaning through other people. Right,
and that's not a good way to try to find your meaning.
No.
That's a hard question though. Like, what do you think your biggest fuck up has been?
My biggest fuck up was, oh man, I don't know, because everything I've done has led me up to this point. But I would honestly say, say that I know my biggest fuck up was getting 2 DUIs. That was my biggest fuck up, 100%. Because the thing is,
that shit
doesn't matter what
too.
It carries. And now anywhere they look at you like this kind of person, I could tell them that I haven't had a drink in 9 months, you know, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't matter. And then they also look at, 2 DUIs. Well, you must have had an alcohol problem, you know. When it's like, no, I mean, I was just driving with my friends and I was partying and stuff, and I was, Oh, I didn't have that much to drink.
Doesn't mean you're a fucking addict, you know?
and I gotta tell him, like, both of my DUIs were 0.08, 0.09. Like, it was literally just right on the edge. But then now you start saying that, now you look like you're just excusing it, you know? So you just have to take it for what it is.
Right.
That was my biggest mistake, because other than that, I mean, I've had little things here and there, but I mean, not little things. There's other big things, but this is something that stays with me for life that had no benefit.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't
there's
get
no
anything
silver
out of
lining.
it.
Like, I'm a guy that always like tries to look at the silver lining of things, and I totally agree with that whole like, all my choices have led up to the person I am now. So it's hard to like say you regret something or your biggest fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like my biggest fuck up is probably something I don't even know because there's such a big fuck up that I didn't even have the wherewithal to know that I fucked up. But I don't know. I guess my biggest fuck up was not critically thinking out my college situation. Like, I went to college just because I wanted to make my family proud of me. And it felt like the status quo to do is just to go.
But it wasn't for you.
But I don't know if it was for me. It's hard to like regret those 5 years though, because
5 years.
it took 5 years to get that bachelor's, man. And
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not gonna say I regretted it because I ended up doing that music minor. Like, yeah, maybe I regretted the major that I did because mass media is such a broad thing, and it's been 3 years since college, and I haven't landed any job that pertains to that field.
What do you do with the mass media bachelor's?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was.
Why did you choose that? What
I
did you
chose
want?
it because it was my sophomore year. I was still undecided, and I wanted to do. Well, graphic designer was my first idea, and this is me not critically thinking. I didn't even know that they didn't have that program at the time. So they told me that they didn't have a graphic design program, but mass media was part of that. And I also wanted to do something in radio, and mass media was kind of part of that as well. And a little bit, I liked writing, so there's a little bit of journalism, but I never really critically thought about what job could I land from this broad-ass degree that covers a little bit of everything that I'm sort of interested in, but it never really got anywhere because
Even
I didn't.
with the bachelor's, though, you don't pinpoint?
It's not with something like that. Like, I looked up, like, what are, like, the worst degrees to get, and that's one of them. It's such a broad thing. But at the same time, I would have never have played guitar if I wouldn't have went to college because I did that music minor. That's what threw me into it. And actually, like, it was a life skill. Like, doing the music minor made me really not regret going to college because I took a life skill from it. If I wouldn't have done a music minor, though, I would have totally regretted going to college. I mean, It gave me time to grow up. It was all the things outside of it, and I still had good grades. I made the dean's list and stuff. So it's not like I, like, wasn't trying. My heart wasn't totally into it. You know, I just did enough to get good grades. That's about it. But, like, if I would have sat down and critically thought about what I wanted to do and get rid of all that bullshit of, like, what other people say you should be doing. Because I just felt like I went to college because other people told me that this would be beneficial. But it's how you use it. And I didn't even think critically enough through all those 5 years about if this is actually right for me, you know?
So if you could go back right now, go back and choose, do you have an idea of what that would be?
No. I still don't.
Well, then it didn't matter then because
Right.
you've had all this time and you still don't know.
Right. That's true. But
Right?
it still feels like one of my biggest fuck-ups because now I have 30+ grand in debt to something that isn't even helping me pay the bills.
Yeah,
You know?
but that's the thing is, like, the fact that you still don't know right now, you have no idea, then you would have never gone to college then because you never applied yourself to figure that out or to find out what it is that, you know? And it's also like, but I get it though,
I also
because
feel
it's
like-
so hard to find your
Right.
purpose. Like,
I also feel like just like learning trade. I don't know what trade I'd be in.
oh yeah, that's
Maybe
a good
like a
one.
barber school or something like that. But like if I would have just went back and got like a trade school degree.
Yeah.
And I would have found a job right away. 'Cause it's
Welding,
very
you know?
direct. Yeah, it's very direct. It's something that you
And
can
it's like
actually do.
unionized and shit, man. That's the
Mhm.
best way to go about it.
Apprenticeships
And
and
nobody, it's like very untouched. Like the trade schools and all that. People are just trying to go to colleges and stuff. It's like, no, that's where you make the money, you know?
I guess one route I could have took, although I'm still on the fence about even if that was a good decision. But sophomore year when I was still like being like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I saw this pamphlet for IPR, the recording
Yep.
production school, and I had that feeling in me like this is something that I want to do. So I love producing. Like I want to do sound design and things like that too.
Yeah, you can do that,
which was a part of what the mass media thing was about too. It wasn't totally about that. I barely learned anything in that field, but so after college, I looked into it, and I got to the point where like I was about to sign up for this shit. Then I found out it would have took me for my 2-year degree, my associates that I would have got from IPR, it would have been $50,000. That's more than my 5 years at the college, and it's like, that's still like something that after you get the degree, you're on your own to like find the shit. And McNally closed down, so it's like,
dude, McNally closed down, and my friend, he still had this debt.
Now you're paying
it's
off
like,
this
you guys
debt
are
to nothing.
closed. What do you mean?
That should erase your goddamn debt, because they didn't have the fucking backing to keep their business going, keep their college and their university open. So it's like they just gave them a bullshit degree, you know? And part of that was like you get free studio time for life. That was an appeal for McNally, or for artists that wanted to go through that route.
But it's so expensive. It's like,
and it's
like literally raping your bank account.
Yeah, so that didn't seem like
lack
a
of
smart
a better
choice
term.
either, because music industry is so up and down. You could be making tons of money if you're that guy that has so much success in it, but the people that are just trying to get to that point are pretty much paying into it, you know, already. So why add $50,000 on something that still might not land you a job either? So it's not that I fully regret not making that decision, that move to do it, but if I wouldn't have went to college, that wouldn't have been such a task, I guess. But like to do both, I couldn't have financially done both, because that $50,000, 25 of that grand was out of pocket. I would have had to pay somehow, come up with 25 grand while I was going to school there. It's like, what the fuck? But I don't know. I think the college system's so flawed and corrupt too, because it's like when you get out of college, they want you to have that degree, but then they also want you like 3-5 years experience in that field already. Like, well, how are we gonna get the experience if I just graduated? You know? And man, so I don't know.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish I would have thought more critically, maybe. But even now, I still don't even know what I would have done, you know? So it's hard to say it was my biggest fuck up, but I don't know.
That's it. Yeah.
Don't regret it, because it still made me who I am. And I had a lot of like profound experiences during college that I would have never had otherwise.
Yeah, man.
Like I was thinking about, like, if I never went to college, I don't even know who I'd be. Like, it was still a defining moment in my life. But yeah, maybe if I would have just taken it more seriously, I guess. I did party a lot. It wasn't like it got out of hand or anything by any means, but
I think everybody did.
I should have thought more critically about what I'm actually going to school for.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be in a different spot, but still, like, I can't say it's a full regret of mine, you know?
So it's not a regret. It's a biggest fuck up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing.
No, you can fuck up and not regret it.
I guess so.
Like, you fucked up by, not picking the right thing that would get you to what you think you would want to do afterwards, you know? But at the end of the day, I mean, you can still use it to something else. What's next? Oh. What's next, though? What's the next?
Oh, one of the comments? Well, one guy said starting to smoke, which I can agree with. Because it's a hard thing to get yourself out of once you're in that hole, man.
Sick.
Let's see. Man, it's sometimes hard to follow all these Reddit comments when there's so many comments on comments.
Oh, you just click the down arrow.
Oh, shit.
It takes you to the next string.
Good God, I've been on Reddit for so long. I
Dude.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a hack right there. It's a visible hack.
Ooh, quitting a job before I had another one.
Yeah.
That's a big move, because, like, I've done that before too, where I just hated my job so much that I just wanted out, and then had oh man, you think that, like, not having a job would be kind of nice for a while, because now I can really sit back and, like, start putting the nose to the grindstone and maybe giving more time to do something. But it just stresses you the fuck out. Those couple months that it took me to, like, I just ended up getting a fucking job at B-Dubs because I needed a job, because it was stressing me out. Like, I thought it'd be a nice little break from having to work that, that grind. And, so what happened was I got a job it was like right after college. I was serving for a bit, and then I quit that job to, like, become a QA tester for Activision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yep,
like, oh,
video
that's a
game,
cool
yeah.
opportunity. But then it was like, it's an hour and a half drive there, hour and a half back. And I was still trying to focus on music. And this job was just a contracted 9-month thing. And they said, you know, overtime's encouraged but not forced. But if you don't do that overtime, which they're saying is like 80 plus hours, you're not going to get hired back onto that contract. Now, I really had no end game to why I wanted to do that job. So during the training, I knew this wasn't for me. I mean, it sounds like a cool job. Oh, test video games. So boring, dude.
Did you go out there and interview?
Like, I got the job as a QA tester.
No, I know you got the job as a QA tester. I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, when you got the job, like, did you go out there and interview for the job?
Yeah.
So you drove out there and interviewed.
But it was like midday. So it's like what was an hour and a half was only like a 30, 40-minute drive.
But you didn't take into account traffic.
No. Because I wasn't thinking right.
Yeah.
But it was all the way in like Eden Prairie, and I was living in Blaine at the time. So that was a bitch of a drive.
Yeah.
So I'd come home, eat, go work out. It was already time for me to go to bed because I had to get there by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want my life to just become this job now because I don't even know what I want out of it, you know? And I think one of my dreams would be to make video game music for things. But I don't think that would have been the route. And I just got really stressed out about like all the time I'm dedicating to this job that's still paying minimum wage. You know, it's like I was weighing out the options as I was doing. I'm like, I gotta not do this. Like, I just feel like I'd be a slave to it.
Yeah.
And it would make me not even want to. Not that I play a lot of video games anymore, but like it would make me really not want to play at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. You gotta really think about what you're dedicating your time to. You know, I just didn't see the end game, and you gotta have that kind of goal in order for it to be worth it. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. But it is because all you do is stress out when you're unemployed. You just stress out about what should I be doing to make sure that the next job is going to be something bearable, you know?
Yep.
But then I had to take that serving job, which I hated. B-dubs was the worst fucking place to serve tables. Rude-ass people.
This poor-ass
It's
motherfucker.
crazy, dude. I got stiffed more times on my first day there.
Oh, because people look at
than
it like a
I ever
fast food
got-
place.
Yeah, dude. I got so many no tips, like 7 or 8 no tips in that one night. And I maybe got stiffed once in my serving career.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this fucking sucks. So that didn't help out much either, but at least it financially helped me out for a bit. Because, yeah, being unemployed really fucking sucks. So before you quit somewhere, I highly recommend actually having another job lined
Getting
up.
another opportunity.
Just putting your fucking head down and staying there as long as you can before you gotta finally get another opportunity. you know?
Yeah.
Have you had like a long string of unemployment before?
Yeah, in between contract jobs, I did have it like a couple months off, but I was financially okay for that. You know what I mean? So it was kind of just like some free time, but I was starting to stress at the end of it. Like, man, I need to find a new position, you know? Like, I need to get into a different spot. And that's when I got into TPT, and that was cool. But other than that,
Not TPP like the podcast.
No. Twin Cities Public Television. But yeah, no, but you know, it is important to, like, if you don't like your job and you're planning on doing something else, like, make sure you have all your ducks in a row.
For real.
Basically.
For real. I'm trying to find something else on Reddit here. Let's see.
What is a movie that after you finished watching it, you went, oh shit, then went back and watched it again to pick up on everything you missed? Do you have something like that?
Yeah, the movie Kung Pao. You seen that? End of the Fist?
Saw it when I was a young.
There's a lot of little Easter eggs in that, dude. Like, the background. There's a lot of little like, funny things that make you chuckle. Futurama's riddled with that shit too in the series. But there's like a Hooters in the background. You know, this is supposed to be like ancient China. There's like a Hooters in the background. There's the Titanic was in like this waterfall river, and like a fucking whale fell down when they remember that scene where they're falling down the waterfall.
I don't remember anything about that movie.
A whale, like a killer whale, was in the background, like CGI'd in the background and fell through. And
Yeah.
there's just a lot of little Easter eggs. One was The Departed. You seen that?
Remind me about what that's about with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leo, dude, it was star-studded, man. It was a Scorsese film with Leo, Jack Nicholson, and Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg. And rewatching it, you kind of like connected the dots just a bit more, and you kind of understood it more. The twist endings weren't as surprising, but what's another movie? I guess. So that movie with George Clooney? Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, yeah.
Sixth Sense. That's a cool movie to rewatch a second time.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a super cool one. The second time is actually probably better watch.
I've never seen it once because it's a scary movie.
Oh, well, the doctor the kid sees ghosts.
Yeah.
Dead people.
Yeah.
The doctor, Bruce Willis, was actually a ghost the whole time.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So, like, I know the movie because, I mean, it's so it's talked about.
Right.
But, like, I never physically saw it.
But then when you see him in the scenes, when he's talking to his wife and shit, you notice that she's not actually acknowledging him during those scenes because he's a fucking ghost.
Oh, so you go back and watch it.
You go back and you're like, oh, wow. Like, nobody's really giving him the time of day because he's not there. You know, like, but you didn't notice that the first time listening when you thought he was a real person.
Wow.
But yeah, when you watch it a second time, you're like, oh, whoa, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
What
dude.
are some of the comments that they said?
The Usual Suspects. Never saw that.
Oh yeah, because at the end there's a twist.
Tucker and Dale's versus Evil.
That movie is hilarious. Have you seen that?
So
it's a horror movie, but it's totally like a comedy horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's like these guys are like unintentionally.
Is it like Scary Movie?
In a way, it was like these group of people out in a cabin thought that these two guys, Tucker and Dale, were like murderers, but they never really murdered anybody. It was all like circumstantial, like fuck ups that happened. Like basically the people would murder themselves being scared of these guys. So like they're running away because he had a chainsaw because he just got done like cutting up like a tree or something like that. They thought he was coming at him with a chainsaw, so he ran away and then like ran into a tree that had like a really spiky branch and killed himself. So like they're killing themselves. But so when their friends stumbled across their other friends' dead bodies, they thought those guys had something to do with it.
Yeah.
So every death in that movie was actually unintentional, and they were actually trying to help these guys, but they thought they were the murderers.
Yeah.
There's a cool dynamic there.
What have you ever seen Fallen?
Mm-mm.
Primer and Predestination. Oh, Shutter Island. That's a good one.
Dude, that's a good one, man. That's a really good one because you thought the whole time that he was this investigator trying to figure out the corruption on the prison island.
Yep.
And then you find out he was one of the fucking patients.
Yeah.
And then he completely
so crazy.
imagined one of the characters in the whole movie. That's a good movie to watch.
Yeah,
twice.
that movie was crazy.
It's cool because you see like the Easter. It's kind of like Sixth Sense in a way.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I've seen that. That's Jim Carrey's like serious role. I don't know what the big
someone
twist was though.
Someone said, I'm not a huge movie guy. I usually enjoy the movies I do watch, but don't usually choose movies as my go-to entertainment. When I do watch a movie, I almost never watch a movie more than once. This is one of maybe 3 movies in the past 5 years that I purposely rewatched again. There's so many things you don't realize the first watch. Possibly my favorite movie of all time. It's a romance movie. All right, this dude's comment is boring.
Cinema is such a cool, interesting thing, man.
What are the downsides of weed that people don't talk about? I can't imagine this will get seen now. However, I'm going to comment. Okay, why do people say that before they just type what the fuck you're going to say? I am in my mid-20s studying to be a professional pilot and have smoked habitually several times a day for the last several years. While I am still a large advocate for marijuana, I've stopped smoking entirely about a month ago because I realized a few things. 1, I became complacent with my life and my surroundings, rarely wanting to make a change in my routine because I knew when I able to spark up. 2, I would spend extra cash on edibles, concentrates, weed, etc. Essentially, having extra spending money meant it was going to get me high. 3, I felt as if I would make an excuse to not see friends and family so that I would ensure that I would be comfortable and at home with my shit in hand. 4, it becomes a nightly ritual to the point where going to sleep without it sounds impossible. 5, following number 4, you stop dreaming due to the fact that the THC hinders REM sleep.
Yeah.
I never really understood this until I quit and started having incredibly memorable and vivid dreams, and so did I.
Dude, that's a huge thing.
With all that said, I still believe it's a beautiful plant that has wonderful benefits, but if you're at the point where you think that you can't live without it, I need you to know that nothing is healthy in excessive amounts.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah, dude, sometimes it's a crutch for me as well. And you don't want it to become to that level where you feel like you need to do it. Like there's times where I don't enjoy hanging out with people because I think to myself, oh, it'd be so much better if I was just at home being high.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a good mentality. Like you do shut yourself off to other opportunities because you just want to go get high. You think that's going to be better, but it's really not. It's almost tricking you.
Then someone said derealization disorder. If you know, then you know. And someone said, I've experienced depersonalization/derealization one summer. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced. I was constantly trying to figure out what was wrong with me, but I knew it had to be from my constant marijuana use. It kind of disappeared after what seemed like months of it lingering. I used to tell my family and friends that I didn't feel the same and that life didn't look the same to me. It was hell. I finally came to terms with it after days of worry. What kept me from going completely insane was just ignoring it, continuing my regular routine, and putting it out of my mind, not letting it control me. I really hope anyone who's experiencing this right now gets through it. And that's true. I experienced something like that too after one of my psychedelic trips, and I was just still smoking and stuff. And I think it wasn't necessarily a trip that made me feel like that. It was like smoking afterwards and like probably did not help, you know? I mean, it's not always good for... It's different for everyone. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure, man. There's good sides to it. There's bad sides to it. That's for damn sure. Sometimes it can be a social aspect of it. That's what got me into smoking in the first place, to socialize and to kind of like be part of the gang. But then when it became a need of mine to like think that that's going to make me relax, that's going to solve my issues, it just pretty much postponed those issues until you come down, you know?
Here's a good one, though. Both my roommates are heavy smokers, and they just think so slowly. It takes them forever to understand anything. They also forget a lot of stuff. Like, they'll step away from the dishes for a moment and then never finish them without prompting. The house smells like a coffin. I eat the occasional edible, but seeing how lethargic they are has me convinced to quit smoking pot entirely. And then someone said, do they realize they are slow, or do they perceive themselves as normal? And someone else said, I recently started smoking about 2 months ago. Not a lot. Probably have smoked 2/8 in that time period. I'm a lot less mentally sharp now. I noticed I'm saying the wrong words once or twice a day, and I'm having a lot more trouble recalling memories that used to be easy. My head feels foggy, like the other day after a major high, but still almost a week after the last time I smoked. I'm getting worried. I have a history of mental illness in my family, and I'm below 25. I haven't posted anywhere about this because I feel like people will say I'm silly, but I feel like this is a place I can do it. I feel different than I did started before. I think my moods are getting sour as well.
Crazy.
Dude, it's like, holy shit, that's a lot.
That dude just spilled his guts out on Reddit because he had no other way to like for him to express his feelings. But yeah, I have this weird thing with just weed and music because I've a lot of people say they do it to be more creative, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so weird, like this dynamic I have with it, because like last Thursday for that performing, like when I'm performing music, I'm completely sober. Yeah. Like I don't want anything because I know it's going to make me a little my brain's going to be a little scrambled after smoking. You might be more forgetful and things like that. Mm-hmm. But when I'm making music, I usually tend to be high because I lie to myself and say, this is the way to be creative, you know? Then you use that as a crutch, like I was saying before. It's a weird dynamic. Like it also keeps me in check though when I need to perform and do my stuff. I can be sober and fine. But when it comes to like getting the ideas and stuff, I feel like I can't. Like I'm not gonna do my best being sober. But I feel that's probably just a lie that I tell myself. You know.
It is, because otherwise then okay. And I get what you're saying, but then when we have to take that idea and we step back and look at it from a different perspective, and you say, okay, weed, Logan, music. Logan, music. Making music. Logan and making music, we need weed. There can't be Logan and making music without weed.
Right.
It's just not good. It's just not as good. So then there really is no Logan in music then.
Right. No, that makes total sense.
Right? You have that triangle, and if you don't have this part of it, then you don't have this.
But it's just a lie.
But that's a lie. You have this.
Straight lie.
This is what it is. This is just like,
it just
oh, I'm just
distorts,
doing that.
And then while you're high, you think you're like, you're killing it. You're in the moment. You're really doing it. But then if I think about it critically, like even like playing guitar, like if I'm playing guitar high, I think, because I feel more when I'm high.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think I'm fucking killing it, but it's really not. Like my grandpa used to teach music, and there's some students that like would get high before their practice, and he can tell just based off how they playing. They think they're fucking killing it, but he's like, no, you're definitely not.
Yeah, you're slower, man. Like
Yeah.
when I stopped smoking, I could really notice a difference. I stopped forgetting shit. I used to forget shit all the time. I would leave my phone on my lap and get up and it would drop on the floor and just stupid shit. And I would forget where I put things that I just had, and I just had this and whatever. When I stopped all that. I don't forget shit anymore. I remember what I'm thinking. I never really lose my train of thought unless there's some kind of crazy thing that happens.
I've always been a forgetful dude, though. Like,
yeah, I mean, me too. But like, I'm talking about, dude, when you smoke
makes it
all the
worse.
time, like that, it makes it worse. No
So
doubt
worse.
in my mind, 100%.
oh yeah,
Like, and just forgetting your thoughts, even, or just forgetting all that stuff, man. It's just, it totally. And I get what this guy's saying about like a foggy head. It's just not
really
like
clouds
people.
your judgment and clouds.
They
your
idolize this
decision-making
thing that's
skills.
like it's a medicinal plant. It's great, but just anything with, you don't want to over excess.
Don't overdo anything.
It can become your personality trait, like just searching for your next high. Like, oh man,
I felt like I've lost part of my
some
like,
people
sense
they
of
just
humor
like
or
they're always high.
personality sometimes.
It's like I'm just always high, man.
Mhm.
Like that's my
That's part- that's
personality,
me
bro.
now.
I'm just
yeah.
hey, fuck it, man. I don't care. I'm
Mhm.
chopped, man. I'm high, dude. I don't care about this or about that. Like quit with all that bullshit, man. I'm foggy, bro. Like I don't want to be
Yeah.
foggy, bro.
And like, yeah, when you definitely see like some deadbeat doing it all the time, it merely demotivates you to want to be that person,
Man,
It's just like, what are you achieving right now?
dude, there was times like when I used to back in the day, like I stopped smoking once in a while and stuff, and I would be around my friends, and they would just like get done hotboxing or something, and I could noticeably see, like I used to think, oh, everything I can handle weed. I'm just the same, It just makes me feel cool or whatever. No. When you're not high, dude, there's a noticeable difference. Like it depends on how high you get, but I'm talking, we were used to like the hot box of blunts, so they would get
Yeah.
like toasted,
Yeah, and that
and you would be like
ever like getting like that.
noticeably fucked up. Like you don't realize how dumb you are, Like
Yeah.
we were just talking about this, bro. Like what are you talking about? How did you forget that?
Mhm.
Come on, man, quit being a
But-
dumbass.
It's funny because like it is just about the right timing and the right setting of everything. Because there's been times where like I'm very demotivated after work, and I'm like, man, I know I want to work on music, but I'm kind of tired. I'll smoke, and it's the first thing I think about is getting into it and doing. So it's weird. It motivates me sometimes to do that, to do music and be
Mhm.
creative or do something. Like I used to love getting high and just drawing. Like it sometimes motivates me in the right way, but I also feel like I'm not doing my best because I'm high. In a
But
way.
that's the problem there,
Mhm.
is that because you're using it as something to ignite or something to like, I want to start this after I do this, I want to use this to do this.
Mhm.
But really it should be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to use this while I'm doing this. You get what I mean? Like I get exactly what you're saying, because I know
Right.
what you mean. But it's like, that's where the problem comes, because like really, what does that for me? What gets me like super motivated and I can do anything
Kratom.
is running.
Running.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Running, man. Like go out and go for a long run. I
You
come back in here,
so
I'm
clear-headed.
motivated. I don't want to waste my time doing bullshit because I just worked my ass off, Like you have to put in work, and then you can feel good about doing these other things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because like weed is just you're not doing anything, you're not getting your blood pumping, you know, you're just like, not that you can't do that, like
Right.
work on music and then smoke a little bit.
Like
you
not
know?
everybody's fucking Snoop Dogg. That's the thing too. I think it just distorts our own opinion about
Yeah.
ourselves. Because like, oh, you see Snoop Dogg, he smokes every day, all day, 24/7, and somehow he still gets
Wiz
shit
Khalifa,
done.
yep.
And Wiz Khalifa.
But they have their own strains though, you know. Like,
and I bet
know,
they don't really smoke as much as what we think they smoke.
I don't know. But the thing is though, is they have their own strains. They have like Wiz Khalifa, he only smokes like one strain. He knows what works for him.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that like out when you're just buying weed from people and stuff like that, you're getting all different types of indicas and sativas. You don't know what kind of percentage is in there.
How are you gonna react to it?
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah, it's more different than you think it's gonna be. You know.
You think we should finish this up?
Probably wrap it up, man. We got to get to that show, dude.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for listening to the Totally Potpourri podcast. Another episode in the books. As far as what I got going on, man, February 8th is going to be my next performance at Cadence Records or Coffee Shop, I believe it's called, right here in St. Paul. Be whipping out the old acoustic guitar, playing that shit, doing some cover songs, doing a couple originals. Come out to that. That's about a couple Saturdays from now. Then I also have Mini Rapolis the very next day after that on February 9th. It's going to be dope. It's Hannah Savano, Juice Lord, Dungeon the Baptist, and Melly Mike. It's going to be a super good time. As always, follow me on the letter I, the letter M, Logan Michaels on all social media. I have a Mini Rapolis event page now you can go follow at Mini Rapolis.
Yeah.
This podcast has a page now, so follow at TPP Podcast on Facebook. Stay updated on all my latest episodes and shit. And Matthew,
Don't follow me. Fuck you.
don't follow him, dude. He's not even on Facebook and all this shit.
You won't find me anywhere. I hate you.
He's incognito. This is the only time he's out there in the interwebs.
I hate you all.
Thanks again, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your evening.
I'm just joking. Love you.
He actually loves people, so.
I'm a
It's
fat
about
ass.
spreading love here, man.
I'm a badass.
All right, peace out, y'all. Have a good one.